Hey, Chase. How's Vegas? Is it cold? No, it's warm. It's warm. It's getting warm. Thank you, VIP hostess with the mostess, taking care of it. Ooh, VIP of what? Who knows? I don't know. She probably doesn't want us to give too much details. Great, this show. Thank you for tuning in. We have a special guest today. Another guest episode.
Another guest episode.
The guests are stacking up, Tom. We're like booked till June, right?
We are booked till June.
The number of homeless people
we just pick them up right off the street.
We've been telling everyone it's methadone, but then we bring them on a podcast and we go, how did you get here?
Tell us your story.
Our guest today is Raz.
Yes.
Raz, which you've got a much longer real... I've been calling you Raz for as long as I've known you.
And that's not his actual name.
I was actually going to ask him before we got on here, what if I've just been calling him Raz, but he's such a nice guy?
He doesn't have the heart to tell you.
It's like Jordan and Tyson and Oprah.
Yeah?
Raz.
Raz, just
That's
one.
It. Just
share.
one name. That's it. Yep. You know?
We have Raz here, who is a entrepreneur,
Yes.
supercar owner.
Degenerate gambler.
Yeah, I don't think Raz is degenerate.
I'm getting there hanging with Mike.
Yeah, you'll get there with me.
Mike will do that to you.
I've seen Raz making much better financial decisions than I've made, so he's good. One other fact about you, Raz. What's another fact?
Got 3 kids that are a little bit older.
Family man?
Yeah. They're all in their 20s.
All right. I hope I don't say too much. One of your daughters recently married.
Yeah,
we were in Vegas
my
for
only daughter. Yeah, the other 2 are boys. Yep.
Awesome.
Married, yeah, so.
Great. Tom's got a bunch of kids too. I have one on the way. We did a parenting episode.
Oh boy, did we do a parenting episode.
Yeah. Hey, Raz, let me ask you some parent questions here.
Yeah.
Just to see. Because I don't know if you watched the parenting episode. No offense. You could just lie and say yes.
Yes.
But but I gave you a little shout out in there because you gave me the advice about not when you go travel to like another city, don't bring your stroller or your bassinet and all that stuff. Just buy it in the city and then either leave it there, someone will use it, or return it if you needed to.
Yes.
Which I think we brought up as one of Mike's non-parent advice. Let me ask you, you 3 kids, right?
Yes.
I'm not okay. When you had your first one, were you nervous? Did you baby like lock everything down? Like,
man, you know what? Like, never was one of those guys that did all the baby books and all that stuff like that. And of course, back then there wasn't, podcasts or YouTube or anything like that on what to do with kids. Kind of winged it all,
Okay.
Was a little bit nervous. Of course, it was a girl, my first one and everything like that. I wanted a boy, to be honest. Like that's what every guy was. I remember once I found out that we were having a baby, I went out and bought a basketball goal. Said my kid's gonna start dunking at like 8, 9 years old. Didn't know what it was, till like we kind of waited till the day of, and then we found out it was a girl. But I was very excited. We're a little bit anxious, like you said, but didn't baby-proof anything. Didn't even know any of that stuff existed at the time.
Okay.
Kind of was raised old school. I'll give you like a quick little story. Like when I was younger, I fell down one time on the corner and hit the corner of the table. And my parents, they're from, Palestine. They're very old school, very Middle Eastern. Didn't take me to the hospital or anything like that. They put coffee grounds in my head to seal up the hole. So that's how I was raised. So I was like, you know what? My daughter's going to be raised the same way. So she was a little bit rough around the edges when she was a baby growing up, but we didn't have any issues or anything like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, our whole episode was basically like looking at like over-parenting or helicopter parenting. We learned that from Adam. I'm sorry, Tom. Or if it's just kind of like, street rules with your kids. Like, the best, the strong, the fittest will make it.
That's how it was.
It's like Thunderdome rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ross put up a basketball hoop. I'm building a Thunderdome in the backyard. So.
You got the space. You're fine.
All right, Roz. Let's jump into it. Let's you know what? Let's talk cars. I want to talk. You good with cars?
Yeah,
Tom?
yeah.
All right. So, Roz here's. First off, I like to do this. I like to tell everybody how I met someone. So here's how I met Raz. And if I say anything incorrect, please let me know. I did, Raz. But we attended a friend of ours rally. The guys Tampa, which is basically Jameson and Adam, have a drive rally event. DRIV rally.com. I'll put the little thing down here. I think I'm supposed to stop saying that. Honestly, I say it so that when I'm listening,
you can edit it back.
To do it. So,
by the way, Adam, answer my email.
Oh, he's not answering your email. He's a busy man.
I know.
He's a busy guy. He's probably who's Tim.
I did introduce myself as Tim.
All right, thank God. But we went on a rally together. We didn't know each other. Raz at the time had an Aventador, Lamborghini V12 Aventador, and I had my Lamborghini Storado at the time. And if you've never done a supercar rally, basically everyone's kind of clamoring on the highways to different places. So you're going from this hotel to this restaurant or this restaurant to this event place. You know, you're kind of as a big group. So it looks cool on the highway. All the cars are together. Well, Raz and I weren't really staying with the group. We were just kind of going off as fast as we could.
Lone wolf in it.
And you know what? No one knows what state we're in. So we'll just say that Raz and I were on a specific highway. No other cars. Somehow we lucked out.
I think it was like a back road type of thing.
It was a back road, not a highway.
Mexico.
You're right.
It was a back
In
road.
Mexico.
Somewhere like that.
The heart of Mexico.
Sí, carnal.
What are those gringos doing? Or gringos, sorry.
Yeah, there's only one.
Yeah, sorry, Raz.
But the local man.
But I remember seeing Raz like take off, and I was like, you know what? I'll see what this Lamborghini can do. And we were high hundreds, right? I think, I'm going to say a number, Raz, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
All right.
I think that I did 172.
I think we were higher than that.
Yeah, I think you're right too. When you're going that fast, here's the thing. If you're going that fast, things go by very, very fast past you. But I remember it was just Raz and I.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the next stop, we were getting lunch, and I remember Raz came in, and I was like, hey, you're in the white Aventador. He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, we were cooking it, weren't we? And he was like, oh, yeah, we were. And then what was funny is I remember one of my friends that was at that event goes, hey, man, how fast are you guys going? And I told him, and he was like, your car can go that fast? And I was like, yeah, it can. I know. And I remember the Lamborghini app tracks your like car. So I showed him the GPS, and he was like, oh, wow. And he's like, what, don't you have truck tires? Because the Lamborghini Storado has just off-road truck tires. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, what are those rated for?
Yeah, see,
and I was like, oh, yeah, we should look that up. So we looked it up, and it was like 160. Like the Dueler, what is it, Bridgestone? Or not Bridgestone, it's somebody Dueler. Maybe it is Bridgestone.
Yeah, I think it was Bridgestone.
Maybe Bridgestone. Bridgestone Duelers they put on Lamborghinis like rated for 160. And Raz will agree, we were doing much
way more than
faster than 160.
Well, and when I had my Raptor, the Raptors were speed limited because of the fact that like the tires were rated to a certain thing. So they stopped at 100 unless you got it tuned to open it up even more because the tires were rated to like 95 miles an hour.
Now, here's the only thing I'll say. The Lamborghini made those tires specifically.
Yeah, of
not
course.
like an off-the-shelf
No,
off-road
yeah.
like an F-150 tire.
No.
So there has to be some variance in it. They can't, they don't want everyone out there. But we were cooking it.
Yeah.
We were cooking it. So that was like the first time we talked.
Yep.
And then I think the second time we talked, we bonded over watches. We talked about Rolex Daytonas.
I think we went to dinner.
Yep.
With the group.
Okay, yeah.
You had just came back from Hard Rock.
Yep.
And you had a big night that night.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like,
that was Charlie's.
Yeah.
It was Charlie's. That's right.
I think
yep.
it's Cliff's birthday or something was going on.
Yeah.
And you started talking about how you had done really well at Hard Rock.
Yep.
And I was like, oh man, I love going to Las Vegas. I'm not a big fan of Hard Rock, but I love Las Vegas. And you're like, you always go to Las Vegas. So we were like, we should meet up there one time. And,
we should.
And then from that point, and then that's kind of what we got more into conversation.
And then I remember we talked about all that, and then we've never once gone to Hard Rock, but somehow we've gone to Las Vegas together like 27 times. That's exaggeration.
It's probably for the better because Hard Rock's been rough lately.
Oh yeah, Hard Rock is rough seas. So that's basically how I met Raz, and we just clicked. It was funny because I'm always, a lot of the people we brought on the show, Tom, that have been friends of mine.
Yeah.
I've said, you meet people who are just like genuine people, and Raz was one of them. It was like the conversation was great. We had a lot of stuff in common, probably more so than most people would think we have in common, and we hit it off. And then when we started going I think, let me say this. This is a funny story. We planned a Vegas trip together. Raz and I were going to go to Vegas together, and I remember my wife going, hey, is that going to be uncomfortable? And I was like, you know what? Maybe, because I know we've only talked twice in our friendship.
Never really hung out anywhere or anything else.
Yeah. I was like, maybe, but here's the thing. We each have a room in the suite. And, if for some reason we don't click, like we can just go do our own thing. We can awkwardly make it through these 3 days. I was like, but me as a person, I try to be a good friend. I try to, I'm not trying to sow descent, unless it's with you, Tom.
Yeah, I was
always
saying,
just with you, Tom.
That's not true. Continue.
But we flew out to Vegas. We checked into our penthouse together, and it was amazing. It was like the first dinner we had. We were great. You know, I was, we had some funny conversations about life, and then our gambling was pretty much on par. We both, you weren't a slot guy at the time.
No,
and we're going to talk way more about gambling.
Yeah,
but,
we are.
But you weren't really a slot guy at the time. You were more of a table game guy.
Yep.
And I wasn't a big table game guy, but I was like, hey, let's go play table games.
Yeah.
And you introduced me to Free Bet, which we're going to talk a lot about because we have a friend that hates Free Bet.
Okay.
And then we just hit it off. And it was just anytime one of us was going to Vegas, it was like the other one would try to figure out how to get there at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of work my calendar around whenever you're going because I'm like, okay, if you're going to be there, let me know. Because, there's some perks of going when Mike's there too, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. Like, when we
Yeah,
get
a little bit.
gambling thing, so.
Yeah.
Or what are the perks if someone steals the money out of your backpack?
You got your
No.
money back, Tom. So cars. Let's talk about cars. So you had your Aventador. Let's do this. Tell us, because I met you when you had your Aventador, but you probably had something cool before, right? Or was the Aventador the first big boy?
Well, I've had like a lot of cars, but never something like the Aventador, right?
Okay.
I had like a Mercedes SL,
Okay.
and I had like a BMW M3, but like the first supercar I ever bought was the Aventador.
Wow, that's a big jump. I mean, that's like that's some people's dream, and you.
And that was it. It was my dream car, right?
Okay.
And like at the time, I really I love cars, but I'm not a big car guy. Like I couldn't tell you like. People would come up to us at the car shows and be like, do you know we got this kind of engine and this kind of thing and naturally aspirated? I was like, I didn't even know what naturally aspirated was until these kids told me about it, So when I was looking at Lamborghinis, because again, as a kid, that was always my dream car. I remember I had a poster on the wall with like the doors that came up. It was a Countach at the time. So I wanted a Lamborghini with the doors that go up. So when I was able to afford a car like that I wanted, I started looking at the Lamborghinis. I didn't even know the difference between a Huracan and the Aventador at the time. I just knew one had the doors go up,
Yeah.
but it was way more expensive. So I'm like, why is the
You're like,
doors
this
that go up-
premium for these doors.
I was like, is it that much more for the doors? And then I found out because of the V12, that's why the doors go up.
Yep.
And I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to buy my dream car, I'm going to buy my dream car. So I bought the Aventador first.
Okay.
Now, before that, I had a car that you don't consider a supercar.
Oh, here we go.
Or anything like that. But I did have a Corvette C8.
Okay, all
And
right.
I had a C8
and you are
before
the
that.
friend, just so everyone knows it. Anytime I've talked about C8, you are the friend I mentioned that I go, listen, I don't purposely shit on C8 owners because I have a friend that has one. Yeah.
So I had that first. I had a C7, then I had a C8. And then once I got the C8, and then I was like, okay, now I want to upgrade to a supercar, like my dream car. I got the Aventador. And then after I bought the Aventador, we got the car business going. And then that's when I bought a Huracan and a couple other cars too.
Okay. C7, which did you like a Z51, Z06?
No, just a regular C7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it. Yeah.
Did you have manual or auto?
Auto.
Okay. I think, and I'm not a save the manuals guy. I think the auto on the C7 is a better transmission. I've had both. I don't care. Have you ever driven a manual C7?
Not a C7, no.
Okay, it's a weird transmission.
Because it's in a 7-speed
It
too?
is a 7-speed.
It's
And
like a
the
weird
7-speed doesn't
7-speed.
even make sense
No.
in it because it's like your revs stay at the same point. So, all right, because I always make the argument that I like the C7 more than all the Corvettes technically. So you like your C8 more than the C7, right?
I like the C8
Okay,
more. And
okay.
I'll be honest, the C8 was a great daily driver car.
Okay.
Like I love the Aventador.
Do you still have it or did you get rid of the C8?
I got rid of
Okay.
everything except for the one I just brought up today.
Okay.
And the C8 was a great daily driver. Loved it. I mean, I put tons of miles on that car. And same thing with all my cars. I mean, I'm a firm believer that if you spend this much money on a car, you enjoy that car.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep it in the garage. I'm not going to sit there and just, trailer it everywhere I go. I drove the cars everywhere I went. I didn't care. Like it was like the Aventador ended up having 33,000 miles on it.
Wow. That's high for high for an
Believe
Aventador.
me, every place I tried to sell it to told me that. They tried to lowball me big time. But and the Corvette ended up having like 67,000 miles on it before I got rid of it. So I mean, like I daily drove it, and it was a comfortable car. It was a great car for that, And I liked it. It was a C8R, so it was a limited edition one. It was like number 555 out of 1,000 hard tops and convertible. So it was a little bit different than the typical C8. No extra speed or anything like that, but it was at the time it was nice and it satisfied the need.
Gotcha.
Big vert guy, huh? Convertibles.
Oh, yeah.
This is my thing. Like it has to be a roadster convertible.
Yeah.
And you love white cars too, if I remember right.
That was my thing. So like I had at the time I had a white and black Escalade, a white with the black rims. The Lamborghini was that. My daughter's M3 was that. So I wanted every car I bought to be that way. The Corvette, the C8, because it was a C8R, they come in two colorways: the gray with the yellow strip or the yellow with the gray strip because they're based on the racing models.
Yep.
So at first I was like, oh, I'll wrap it and things like that. And then eventually that yellow grew on me. So I was like, okay, then after that I started buying different color cars. But I always loved the white with the black. You know, to me that looks so good.
Are you interested in a Tesla Model X?
No, I am not.
It's outside. We'll give
It's
you a deal.
outside. You can take it home today.
Teslas are nice. They're just not my thing, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I get you. Let me ask you this. So the C8, they don't make C8s in manual, right?
Not that I know of,
Yeah,
no.
they're all auto. That's always a weird thing because you get, I crap on the C8 a lot, and I apologize, Raz.
That's
but
all good now.
it's funny because it's like the save the manual guys like hate cars that are automatic, but somehow no one ever points out that the C8's not it's all automatic, which is interesting to me. It's like that gets the.
Well, I think the biggest problem too is I don't think you could actually shift that car properly with how fast the engine revs.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I mean,
it's
my argument. There's some cars that there's a certain point you hit in either power or speed that it makes no sense to have.
The computer will shift it faster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you could never be faster than the computer would do.
And it's also wear and tear. The other thing, like the Hellcat, like I'm a Hellcat guy. We know that. We've talked about it a few times. The manual Hellcat. Is the clutch gets eaten out of it because it can't hold the power. So you have to do it perfectly. But if you're not doing it perfectly every time, you're just wearing it out.
You're just killing
Also,
clutches.
if I'm not mistaken, I think they're just using the clutch and transmission out of the truck, like a Ram, to hold the torque on it.
Yeah.
So it's always funny to me because you rarely ever see anyone online be like, oh, the C8 sucks because it's not manual. Like they just go, oh, it's okay. But I remember when the 992 Porsche came out. That was auto only because they couldn't figure out a way to do that. They had that weird little stick thing in the middle, and everyone crapped on it. They were like, "Oh, it's auto only. That sucks. But I don't know. C8's gonna pass, but that's fine." Aventador ownership. That's an interesting. I've heard some horror stories.
The Aventador is like. So first of all, I used to always tell people they're like, "What's the difference between a Huracan and an Aventador?" The Huracan is a baby daddy. The Aventador is a sugar daddy. You know? And for the Aventador, you have to be prepared to spend money. Every time you take that car out, you just know you're gonna have to send it to the shop for something. Oh, no. I mean, like the check engine light would come on a regular basis, and it was always the sensors. It's so sensitive. I named my car. You know how people name their cars. I named my car Mike Tyson because it had like the growl and the power of Mike Tyson. But it was so sensitive, like he is. You know, I mean, it's just like, that's how I pictured it. You know, like anytime if it rained,
very burly and rough, but
Oh my god! Like,
if it rained,
if it rained, it gets the engine bay is open. You know, so like I feel like it would trigger some sensors and things like that. I mean, I ended up getting like a mechanic to be my best friend just because like every other week.
I bet he was your best friend.
You know? Yeah. So and it was always a cost, and you just know. It's a $4,000 fix almost every time. Wow. You know, so.
It's funny you say that. I think it might have been a DDE video I was watching that they were talking about the funny thing with Lamborghini is that you buy the Huracan. Well, now it's the Tamario, sorry, which is always their like entry level car, which is basically a Toyota Camry. It never has problems, never has an issue. Then as soon as you pop up to the $500,000 cars, it's issue after issue after issue.
Look at the Revolto's having all kinds of problems.
Every time I would go to, whenever I would go to the dealership to drop off my car or anything because they come pick it up. That was the advantage of the Lamborghini, right? They come pick it up and things like that. So when you would go to the dealership and you go to the back to look at them working on your car, you'd always see the same guys with the same Aventadors in there. It's like funny, so you kind of know who has what cars just because their cars were always in the shop around the same time too. Because everybody's usually doing the same thing. They're taking these cars to rallies or to these little car shows or nice little weekend here and there, and then all of a sudden, 3 days later, you're back in the shop, you know.
Oh boy. Yeah. Is maintenance wise, is it high on that? I know the clutch is where it gets crazy, right? Like that's where.
Yeah. So the clutch could be an issue. I never had that issue or anything like that. So like before I got rid of it.
For the next owner.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody else's problem now.
Yeah, it is. You know, but everything else, like, it could be expensive. You know, I mean, like, you know, again, but if you find a good mechanic, which I have, he's local.
Do you want to give him a shout out or no?
If I could, yeah. It's like his name is Alex from Eurocar Experts.
Okay.
I'll be honest. This guy, he's worked on all of our friends' Lamborghinis too lately, and McLarens and Porsches and everything else. He is usually half what the dealership price is.
Oh wow, that's great. Okay.
So, I mean, you know, and then or sometimes like one of the guys has a McLaren 570 in there right now, and the dealership quoted him some crazy price, and they couldn't even figure out what was going on. He figured it out for a third of the cost.
Wow. Yeah, those independent shops are nice because sometimes by the book, Lamborghini has to do certain things.
Yeah.
And even an independent shop can actually just replace the one part needed, and it doesn't have to be that massive parts list and labor if it's one thing.
We were just talking about that though, because even with my Tesla, like, so I need to get half shafts again, and the dealership wants to replace like every nut and bolt
Tom.
has to be replaced.
Tom, we're talking about supercars.
Yeah, I know. I have doors that go up, but
Sorry,
the
Tom, I'm
dealership,
sorry.
Super.
the dealership has like when they quoted me, it was like every nut and bolt they wanted to replace, every little thing here too, and it was a lot more than it needed.
Yeah,
to
it
be
was like
done.
ridiculous because I was
Yeah.
like, Tom, we could just go do this in my garage on the lift. Like, we'll just
Yeah.
pop it up and replace the shafts. We don't need.
No,
Why
it was-
do you need every nut and bolt
It was
replaced?
wild
So,
the
yeah.
quote that they gave me back. So
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's that dealership. Like when I had the Storado, I had it's got the plastic fenders on the side, the 240 boys, and all the screws for that the paint was coming off of them, and it was like a known recall. But you can't just get the screws. Lamborghini makes you buy the whole new trim.
Fender. Oh my God.
So the dealership was like, it's not the problem with the screws. The Lamborghini probably has 1 million of them in a bin. It's the plastic trim pieces are on back order, and they won't just send the screws. They will only send the screws with the plastic trim piece. So I was like a year of ownership, and they never replaced them because I would just go out there with a Sharpie like before shows, like.
and that's why you never got a trophy.
Yeah. But maintenance-wise, like an oil change doesn't cost that too much more than. But you're going in an independent shop, so you're saving a ton of money anyways. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's right around maybe $1,000.
Okay. So Raz, you have gotten rid of the Aventador.
Yep.
Tired of the bills. What made you go to? Well, what did you get, and what made you go to it?
All right. So I was looking at a lot of different cars. Of course, for me, it's a supercar if the doors go up. And of course,
Billionaire
I
doors.
want a
Billionaire doors.
convertible, so it had to either be a Roadster or something that the top comes off, preferably a hardtop convertible. So I looked at the McLaren 600 LTs, the 720S Spiders, the 750S Spiders, the 765 LTs, the Ferrari SF90. Like I said, I'm a Lamborghini guy through and through, but until the Revolto or something like that.
Well, you
comes out
also
with
had
Roadster.
you had the top, you had the mountain already. So
Yeah.
like, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And
That's tough.
That was the
Yeah.
hardest thing right there. Is because
Because
the Aventador-
Revolto's big money.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh,
those
yeah.
those guys are specking those things out like nuts.
But again, because it's not a Roadster,
Yep.
and that's like, for me, the top has to come off. I mean, all this beautiful hair I lost because I had the tops
about to
off.
say, he's like, I got to keep this tan.
So then I started narrowing it down, and I ended up going with the McLaren 720S.
Okay.
Again, I was never even a McLaren guy or anything like that until we started going on these rallies. Met a couple people that had McLarens, and they spoke very highly of them. Anything that was newer than the 2019, 2020s. And then when I finally got into it, I noticed the thing that I liked about the 720S is it gave me the feel of the Aventador with the torque and the pull and the power, but it gave me the comfort and the agility of the Huracan.
Yeah,
right?
those 720s are like blisteringly fast.
Yeah.
Like I remember I've driven two, and both times, one, just to praise you for this. One, it's a beautiful car.
Thank you.
I know you were talking about the 765 or the 600 LT, which are all, again, some McLaren guy's going to get real mad at me, but they're all kind of variations of what I would say is almost the same car.
Yeah.
You know,
They are
Yeah.
just a little bit more horsepower and then where the exhaust is.
Yeah, it's just that's it. It's the exhaust position would be the big thing for me, but and obviously power, it's just a number. But
And you had a 570?
is this a? You
I
trying
can't
to kick
remember.
me down the steps?
No, I can't
You're
remember.
like, which crap McLaren did you have, Mike? No, I'm
God.
just kidding, Tom. I had a 570 GT, but I had a 2017, which, like
Yeah.
Raz was saying, 18, 19 seems to be where
When they
the
started
golden-
getting better.
starting to get better.
got better.
Yeah, my and I didn't have engine or transmission issues. I had a lot of electrical problems. That was at Gremlins. I get stuck in the car, like locked in, not because of my weight.
He could get in the car.
But the 720 to me is so beautiful. It looks like a spaceship from the inside and outside. The doors, billionaire doors, the exhaust is the right position, the power's there, and like I said, where I was trying to praise you is it's fast. It's faster than it feels like it should be. But even my 570 GT, when I got that, I was like, oh, well, this will feel like most, and it was like impressively quick.
Yeah, it's very. And again, for me, was the agility, right? Because like when we go on rallies, the Aventador could not keep up with the Huracans on the highway. The Huracans can in and out of traffic very easily. The Aventador could not. Like if we're on a straightaway, the Aventador would take everybody out. But once we got into traffic and we're going in foreign countries, of course, we're bobbing in and out of traffic.
Mexico?
Yeah.
Yep.
The Aventador would always have trouble keeping up. Where the 720S, I feel like, has that ability to go ahead and pop in and out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm always impressed, no matter what McLaren I've been in, the steering feedback and input. It's like a dart, like you just a little bit, and you just zoom over. I think I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you know, being in the 720, is that with the Aventador being a bit like lumbering, like you said, on the rallies versus, and now in the 720, did it take a little time to get used to how like snappy and quick that is?
It did, and I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'm even glad I drove it today, even with a little bit of rain, because it rides differently with the rain than the Aventador did too. The Aventador was like it's like a fast tank. You know, it's just a big car, but it's very fast and it like growls and everything. Where the 720, like I said, feels a little bit more nimble, you know, so I feel like I'll have a little bit more control and power over it. The Aventador, there would be times where I'd be nervous to like even gun it, like when we were going really fast at one time.
Because it's hot out, and you're like, oh god.
Because you just don't know. I mean, like, and things would come up on it really fast, and it's just like such a big, loud car where you don't even hear anything else going around you. Where the 720, I feel like I have a little bit more control on it because it's sensitivity with the steering wheel and everything.
Yeah. Also, McLaren's just in general handle amazing. That's probably one.
I would say even because the only McLaren I ever drove was a 12C, and even back then, those were still like they still handled really well for what they were.
Yeah, people still love those today. Yeah. I think that's like a. Like
I think they're a bargain now too. Because I think
they're actually coming up a little because if I remember, it was like they were the McLaren.
Yeah, they were a nightmare.
I think they called it a sports car. Not McLaren would say it was a sports car, not a supercar, but they were. Yeah. And then they kind of fell off because everyone was getting 570 GTs or 570Ss, and
they also had like everyone was freaked out about the maintenance on them. But then I don't know if somebody figured it out, but it seems like they're not as bad as what.
And now they're back in vogue because everyone's like, "Oh, the 12C looks gorgeous. It's a great looking car." Yeah. But, Russ, tell us about your spec if you don't mind. If you do you know all that? Do you know the pink color name? Do you know?
No, I don't know. So again, I love cars, you know, but I'm that guy that has a little bit of money and just goes out and buys the car because he likes the way it looks or he likes the way it sounds, right?
Yep.
I know it has carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber like accents on, and like the carbon fiber ground effects and stuff. That's about it. The cool thing about the car, I think, is like which I didn't know what the McLarens do, is when you turn it on, the dash flips up and flips down.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
cool.
if you go into track mode, it also goes down and it gives you like a nice little gauge. So I mean, like that's the spec of the car that I know. I mean, like it's
the real
great
question
color.
is what seats did you go with?
Yeah, do you have standard seats in there, or do you have some uncomfortable Senna?
No, they're not the uncomfortable ones. So I test drove a 600 LT, which again I loved it because of where the exhaust was at. But it had the sport, I don't know, the P1 seats or whatever.
I think they're the Senna seats.
Yeah, or it had something like that. Yeah. The problem is, again, I'm a wide body guy. When I went in there, my shoulders were like this. And I couldn't even I feel like I couldn't even drive with the steering wheel or anything like that. So I was like, I need something with a little bit more room.
Yeah, you still want to be. It's funny how some of these guys will spec this out and just be uncomfortable and live with it. And I'm like, why? Why would you spend all that money to just be uncomfortable?
It's like girls with the shoes.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's a fair point. Oh, it's actually very funny. Yeah,
I'm a ballast boy. I want to be. Is your interior?
Give me them lazy boys.
Give them comfy seats.
Is your interior black, dark?
It's dark black. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which is nice because eventually.
Any accent colors or anything in it?
No.
Okay.
It has like the carbon fiber on the inside too.
And we'll put pictures up of it. Yeah.
But I like that too because again, if you ever want to wrap the car, now it gives me like so many different options, right? Where I can wrap the car any color, and then I don't have to worry about because the seats don't have any accents or anything that have to go ahead with that color wrap or anything.
Yeah. Did you do like a pre-purchase inspection when you bought yours, or did you?
I did a pre-purchase inspection.
Okay.
And I recommend that mostly with these supercars.
Yeah.
And then I'll be honest, like if you ever, so this one I bought it from up north. The car came from California and ended up going to Illinois, and that's where I bought it from. But I've heard some horror stories about people buying cars out of Miami.
Oh yeah, we talked about it before.
Halala.
Sorry, I can't ever pronounce it.
Show how white
the
you
white
are.
guy really comes out in me once I have to say that. Yeah, no. Matter of fact, Tom and I always joke because we'll find these ultra cheap supercars, and it's always down in Miami.
Because he was looking at 720s at one point, so I went down the rabbit hole trying to find one, and there would be like 3 of them that would randomly just always pop up out of Hialeah for like 90 grand, and we're like, why?
Yeah, and even after I did all that, as soon as I got the car, I took it to my mechanic right away, and I'm like, give it an oil change, and then like go ahead and like do it a once over, check everything up, if it needs anything or anything like that, because I ended up getting a warranty this time. Learned my lesson with the Aventador, but I bought one of those third party warranties because I was just like, I'm not going to sit there and funnel out all this cash whenever something small goes wrong.
Yeah. I think the 720s are pretty. Accumulators are a big thing. The accumulators on top of the suspension. I don't know if those have been done yet or not. But if your guy looked over it, they usually weep. Those almost seems like everyone needs those that has a 720. But for the most part, past that, oil lines leaking are the big thing because they cause a fire.
Okay.
So that'd be the other thing I'd watch out that I know of. I'm
Is
sure
it oil lines or is it the hydraulic fluid lines?
I think both, but the turbo feed line for the turbo, I think, can be an issue because they come loose and spray.
Yeah.
And then the hot side of the turbo is hot and it just goes up in flames.
Oil, hot turbo,
never a good thing. But obviously a warranty, that's a huge thing to have anyways. But, you've got a guy I'm assuming same gentleman that was working on the Aventador.
Alex,
so yeah, was he excited?
He loved it. I mean, as soon as he looked it over, and he said it was a great car. So I was very happy with that too.
That's awesome.
And I trust his opinion.
Yeah, no, that's congratulations. That's
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. We've got pictures of you and I's car outside of the studio and peak. It looks good. It looks good. And mentioning pre-purchase inspections. While this was a McLaren, you should check out EV inspectors for your electric car. Check out this commercial.
EV inspectors. If you're buying a used EV, especially a Tesla, stop. Before you send that wire or click buy, call EV inspectors. We specialize in professional EV pre-purchase inspections. Battery health, charging system, suspension, hidden damage, the stuff a normal mechanic might miss. A Carfax won't tell you everything. We will. Book your inspection today at evinspectors.com. EV Inspectors. Know before you plug in.
Yeah, so evinspectors.com for all of your electrical vehicle needs, right?
And
Tom?
hybrids.
Oh, what? Hybrids?
We're getting into hybrids
You're
now.
doing hybrids now?
We're gonna dabble in hybrids.
Oh my God. Like a sativa? That's a drug joke, I think, right?
Yeah. Or vape. They got like the vape sativa stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer, settle down over there. That's drugs.
Listen here. We're going to have Cliff on the show soon,
Yeah,
right?
I'm excited
We have
about
him
that.
scheduled, right? I think
Yeah.
Cliff's
We do have him scheduled. Yeah.
Cliff's a big weed guy. So I'm very excited to talk. I have so many questions that'll be like a third grader asking the school resource officer.
So, real quick, I went with Cliff one time to Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And he took me on a tour of a wheat farm. I was amazed at how much stuff goes into that stuff.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
And then we were in Vegas for
Water and dirt.
I mean, not just. I mean, there's so much
photosynthesis.
I'm sure they
is
all
crazy.
appreciate that.
And then we also went to a convention
Yep.
for MJ Biz, which is like the weed convention. I've been to tons of conferences in Las Vegas, and usually they're in like the hotels, like Mandalay Bay might have it, or like this one was at the convention center, and it is the biggest conference I've ever seen. So
Wow.
Cliff will be able to give you guys so much stuff
Yeah.
to go on, so it's gonna be a great.
I'm sure he's gonna appreciate that you just being like, oh, what is it? Dirt, water, and the sun will grow it.
I mean, you gotta dial it down.
I think he's like offering his services to help you start your business, and I don't think he's gonna appreciate you just being like,
No,
these are the three things you
it's
need.
also if you follow Cliff, which he'll plug his socials and stuff.
Yeah.
It's insane the things he like goes over that they have to build in these facilities. Like it's nuts.
It's cool just from the business side of it too,
Yeah.
like what it takes to kind
I
of get
didn't
something
think
up
Cliff
and
was
going.
smart till he started talking about that stuff. You can share this
Hey,
Cliff.
I think the heat's off me now.
Just kidding, Cliff.
So Raz, 720S, we talked about it. Your love, it's awesome. That's great. What's the modifications? Anything coming down the line?
So definitely want to do an exhaust.
Okay.
Maybe eventually do a tune, and then maybe some little wrap or something like that down the road.
Okay.
Maybe once I get tired
Those
of the
things
color.
do good on tune. Like a nice tune on those, it bumps up your power quite a bit.
Yeah,
so.
I've seen like almost up to like 850, 900 horsepower.
it's
So
Yeah, there's a
It's
shop
nuts.
too around here. I think that does a lot of them too.
DME tuning. I
was
think
hoping you knew the name of it. I
Yep,
was-
yep.
I
I'm
couldn't
fair, I
remember
think
it.
I have that right. That's Juan's dude that he
Who
does
will
all
also be
his
on a future
cars.
good.
episode.
So,
Yeah. We'll get
hit
you
him up.
connected up with them only if they watch this show. No, I'm just kidding.
If they
You
like,
gotta
comment, and subscribe.
Yeah,
gotta
like and
subscribe.
subscribe. Comment below. So exhaust, is any particular exhaust you're looking at, or are you kicking around?
Looking at the Valvetronic one right now.
Okay.
That one seems to come up. It seems whenever you even think about anything, social media just knows.
Oh, yeah.
So all of a sudden I've been getting tons of ads for Valvetronic and didn't even know who they were or anything.
Yeah.
Heard of Rift, because that's like the
Yeah.
big one out there. So the Valvetronic one seems like it's a great price point, and I love the idea of having valves to where you can control the
Click
sound.
it on and off. Yeah. So, I think on the Lamborghini Huracan, a lot of the guys just go disconnect the valve system, and it just goes insanely loud. Which it's just full wide open. That's why. But I remember when I did it with our Adam, the drive rally. He did it in his driveway for me, and then like coming home, I would then make a phone call, and I wasn't near the person on the hands free at all. I was like, they're like, what is that noise? But tuning and exhaust, that's smart on that one. Then you got to start to think about tires just for the traction and stuff. But you're pretty set up on brakes. But no, fantastic car. During the commercial break, we ran out there. I know the commercial's 22 seconds, but
we're really fast.
Way. Yeah,
we're
we were
fast
not.
at 720.
And we were gooing over your car, and she is gorgeous.
Yes.
Thank you.
She is gorgeous. No, you did it. You did good. I can't wait to you and I have to go for a ride or something.
No, definitely. Anytime.
So we're done talking about cars. Tom, unless you got anything to add on cars?
No. I think it was just talking about the car purchase too.
Yeah, let's jump into business.
How did you get the cars?
Now that's true. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
Ross, where does your money come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's funny, like kind of like segue from cars and business too. I know you guys get it all the time too. Well, not the guy with the Tesla, but
no,
Tim.
I always get people that come up and like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I always tell the guys, mostly like the younger crowd, it doesn't matter what you do, right? Because everybody's business is different. The business is a mentality more than anything else. And I think that's what a lot of these kids are not realizing. They're thinking if I tell you, oh, I have real estate or this is my business or I do this kind of business, they think they can go out and do the same thing and they're going to get the same results. And what they don't realize is that a lot of this was like just long term, right?
Yeah.
We live in a world where now everything seems like it's very quick. And one of the businesses I did have was we used to rent out the Supercars, right? That was a way for me to buy the Supercars and kind of get some little tax breaks and things on them. And we would see that a lot of people that would rent the Supercars from us, they would post them on social media as their cars, and they were selling classes or
courses
bros. And all this other things.
Yeah, we talk about course bros all the time.
And I'm just like, and they're selling this fake idea that you can make this money very quick. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that are in business know it does not come that quick. No. I mean, if you do get that lucky, then it's honestly like just opportunity. It happened at the right time. But a lot of things just have to go into place. And the other thing is the mentality. And that's what I always tell everybody. It's like it doesn't matter what you do for a living. It's your mentality. You have to have that grind, that work ethic, and then you also have to have that never going to give up spirit, right?
Yep.
You can change, you can pivot what you do. That doesn't mean you're quitting, but just don't quit the idea of having your own business,
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Matter of fact, we had a business episode recently, and that was one of the things we're talking about is that we get, Tom asked me, how many times do you get that? Oh, must be nice. Or like, aren't you lucky? Yeah, aren't you lucky? No, because like you don't, much like I'm sure you completely understand, Raz, like there's many nights you're up nervous, like cash flow isn't great. You got open invoices, things like that. Or, and just to mention the car rental, all it takes is someone smashing that into a tree and you're like, oh boy, I mean, you got insurance, but one big claim has a net effect, a ripple effect on all the other cars.
Yep.
You could go, a kid could run up to you in a gas station and go like, how'd you do this? And you could be like, oh, well, I have a supercar rental business. That doesn't mean that they can have a supercar rental business. And exactly what you just said. Matter of fact, one of our ideas of a show is YouTube BS or social media BS.
Social media in general.
Is all these guys are doing these videos where they're like, bro, let me show you how to do this in like 5 steps. Buy my PDF and I'll show you. And it's not true. Like most of it's a scam.
The money to be made is selling the idea more than anything.
We had one guy rent the Huracan for 2 days. And in that 2-day time span, he took 1 year worth of content.
Jesus.
Pretty much. Every day, like he was posting this and that. And then eventually got to the point where he's like, selling the Huracan, what should I get next? And he was changing. He would literally go to like a nice restaurant, a little outfit, change. Didn't even go in the restaurant. Just it would act like that's where he was going to eat. Then he would go someplace else, take another. Like he within 48 hours, he got almost 1 year's worth of content out of it. And it was just crazy to see that.
And what's sad is that guy probably has a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got kids, or I say kids, but let's just say like young dudes, right? He's got young dudes watching it who are like, oh my God, bro, you're out here killing the game. And he's like, I am. Yep. Just subscribe to my whatever BS. And then they fall for it, but it's unrealistic.
It is.
One of the things, again, I'm sorry, Tom, I know we're going to make a whole show really dedicated on this, but the thing is, there's this guy that I told Tom has been coming into my feed where it's like he's selling streetwear to these girls, and then the girls want to have sex with him. So it's got this appeal where it's like a hot girl. Yeah. But then I noticed it's like the same 2 or 3 girls over and over again. So I was like, wait a minute. So all this is fake. but which 90% of it is. Anyway, I'm not that dumb, but and then I go, well, what's the angle? And then I realized that it's the girl who opens the box and goes, oh my God, I've been looking for every girl in my sorority wants this sweatshirt.
Yep.
And I go, oh, that's what it is. You're just hawking some $9.99 Amazon or Temu crap sweater that now you're making people think, oh my God, a whole sorority wants this?
Yeah.
I want it now. And then the whole content behind it is just to make you look. And then it never fails. At the end, it's like, hey, make sure to follow me and I'll show you how to get this so you can resell it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now you have an affiliate code.
Yep.
So you're getting a kickback on every one of these things. And I'm like, the whole ecosystem is just BS.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any. And then Tom, we were talking also, do you catch that guy that sells fake watches in the hood?
No. In Tampa?
Yeah,
no.
It could be.
Yeah. No, it's probably Halia.
Yeah, but he goes to like meet people in parking lots, or he goes to a ghetto or something, and they have a gun. They're always like pulling a gun on him, and he's like, no, bro, I got you. And then he diamond tests like a fake AP,
yeah,
and he's like, oh, it's $3,000, that's it. And then they pull out the cash, and then as he's walking away, he's like, yo, hit me in, I'm your plug, I got you on these watches. They all pass, and I'm like, oh, so you're just making kids think that they could sell fake watches for $3,000 when we know, in fact, that's not what's happening, right? Like, no gangster is giving you $3,000 for a fake watch.
And
like,
so much of it is all staged up anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You could
all
tell. Like,
staged.
It always looks like they try to make it like it's not staged, but you could tell because it's like you watch a lot of their videos and you see it's always the same people, the same 5 or 6 people in every one of their videos and doing the same different things, and it's like okay, so.
But it's sad because there are people that are falling for it, and then they're just wasting their time and money. Where people, I mean, Tom will tell you, people have said this show is staged for some reason.
Said they were
Wait, some guy
scripted.
tell us they're like, you're so scripted. We're like, we are.
Yeah. Someone also referred to us as AI.
That's true.
Yeah,
they
one of
said
our
we
clips.
seem like AI.
It's the physical bodies of you guys. You guys look like the perfect specimens. That's why people think it's
Aw,
AI.
thanks, Raz. I didn't know where you were going. Raz looks like you look like 10 computers stacked in a trench coat. But so Raz, tell us again. I'm sorry if I speak out of turn here, but you're out of the car rental business, right? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Nightmares, goods, bads.
You know what? It's a great business, right? It's for like if you love cars, it's a very fun business. So again, I loved cars. And I love driving all the cars, but I had one time I think like maybe 30 cars in our fleet, and 12 of them belonged to me. And I can't drive all 12 cars at one time. So it's like, well, let me figure out a way to make money off these cars. I wanted to buy the Aventador, I wanted to buy a Huracan, I wanted to buy a Rolls Royce. And I was like, well, if I want these cars, if I can make money on it, then it can offset some of the costs when it comes to like cars, insurance, and maintenance and everything else. So that's what got us into the car rental business at the time. It's a very great business, very fun business, but it's just logistically doesn't make sense for me. So one thing I love to do is I love to travel. And almost all my other businesses, it's all passive recurring income. So if I can give anybody a word of advice when it comes to business, come up with something that's passive income and reoccurring. Because I always tell people there's 3 things in life that you need to all be aligned in order for you to really enjoy life, which is time, money, and energy, right? When we're young, we have time and we have energy, but we don't have money. Then we get to where we're working, we have energy and money, but no time because we're busy working. Then we get older, right? A lot of times past that certain age, we have the time and the money, but we don't have the energy. So to me, passive recurring income lets you get all 3 at the same time. And then that's when you can do things like travel and go on these rallies and do everything else. So with the car business, it took away a lot of my time, Mind you, my son was running a lot of it. He had his friends going delivering cars, but it got bigger and faster than what we wanted it to. And we ran the business right. So we had a lot of referral business, and we just got to the point where it was taking more of our time than we wanted it to. So we decided, okay, you know what? We're going to go ahead and maybe shift the business because at the time, the last hurricane that came here, that was really bad.
Yeah.
We even had people that wanted to rent the Huracan during that time. And I'm like, look, I know what they're going to do. They're going to sit there and have like driving a Huracan during a hurricane.
Yeah, they're going for that.
I was like, so forget this. So we stopped renting everything at that point. And then after the hurricanes, we were like, well, you know what? We saw that another good idea for the businesses and what we really like doing was the chauffeur business. So whenever people would want to rent the Escalade or the Rolls Royce or anything like that, and we would chauffeur them around, to me, that's a really good business. And if anybody wants to get into the car thing, I still recommend that's the way to do it.
Okay.
Because when it comes to the car rental business, and again, like we got lucky, we really had no issues. We had one time where we were renting out a friend's Range Rover and the engine locked up, and the guy drove it for less than an hour. So even though the friend is like, he blamed it on the guy's like, we ended up getting it taken care of, but it wasn't even from the guy driving it, you know?
Yeah, it's a Range Rover.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that was the problem. It was a Range Rover.
You noticed no one on the side of the table was like, what? Like, yeah, we're like, you'll get that. You'll get that with a Range Rover.
So we stopped renting out Range Rovers. And yeah, two of us like take your shit off the damn fleet. We don't want this no more. But we never had any major issues with anything else. So we got out of it at a great time, I think. And there's been times where we've thought about, you know what, maybe we should just get back into like, because I still like I was never even a Rolls Royce guy. And then I went to Dubai one time, and I went to go rent at the time a Ferrari Portofino 4-seater.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it was three of us, and I was like, I want a convertible.
Yeah.
I want a supercar, but it has to have 4 seats. So they were like, we get you a Portofino. The day they were supposed to deliver the Portofino, they're like, oh, the guy didn't bring it back, but we're going to bring you something else. I was like, as long as the convertible has 4 seats, it's okay. They brought me a Rolls Royce Dawn. I was like, man, that's an old man car. I don't want that. But he's like, that's all I got right now. So we went ahead and rented it. I ended up falling in love with it.
Yeah, it's a badass car.
I was like, yeah, it's a very nice car. Very.
yeah.
So because when I came back to the States, I was like, you know what? Okay, I want to get me a Rolls Royce. So we bought a Ghost and everything at the time. And to this day, I'm like, you know what? If we ever got back into this business, I would get like a little fleet of like maybe it was like Rolls Royce Dawns, Rolls Royce Ghosts, some Escalades.
We talk Bentleys. Bentleys are really good bargain.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're very nice cars and they're very classy too, you know. And I would do like a chauffeur type of car, you know. And we've even talked about maybe even doing like armed security type chauffeur service.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So that would be like if we ever got back into that space. But again, the only way I do it is if we have a big team and where I don't have to worry about nothing, because I love to travel and I'm not trying to sit there worry about did this car get rented out or did this person get picked up or anything like that.
I actually have a few clients that do armed security chauffeuring and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's good money and it's a good business to be in. Like it seems like it's they always seem like they have clients. So.
Yeah, and like I said, like I really wanted to make it like a whole like experience where like you get like the luxury cars like chauffeured, you have a private jet, you know, yacht, where you could have like make a weekend out of it, right? Somebody flies in from a private jet, you take them to their hotel in the car, you go pick them up in the car to the yacht, you know, like that's where we were wanting to go with everything. But then again, just after the hurricane, we were like, you know what, logistically speaking, we just don't have enough time for all this.
And at the time, though, too, like there was a lot of rental car companies. So to hear that you guys were still successful, even though the market felt saturated, at least. I mean, I think we've talked about it at one point or another. You go to a car show, and there's 7 or 8 cars with the signs on there.
Yeah.
So, but
Tampa's starting to get saturated. You know, I mean, like you know, there's a couple big guys. Like you know, I think we're pretty big guys because we had a big fleet. But like every once in a while, like I said, go to the car shows. And again, you would see sometimes kids. I mean, I saw like these 20-some-year-old kids that had like a McLaren and something else.
It's the only way to afford a GT2 RS.
And they're like, we're a car rental company. And I'm like, well, you know, and then again, they're like, we got investors and stuff. And again, all it is they have somebody that has a supercar that doesn't drive it on a regular basis. And they're like, look, you know what? If you can make me a little bit of money on my car, I'll let you put it on your site to rent it out. You know?
Yeah.
And we did the same thing, you know, but like at the same time, a big chunk of the cars were ours. And that's where you make most of the money because they're your cars.
Yeah, you own them.
Yeah, no, that I'm always fascinated. You and I have talked a lot. You know, the wear and tear on the car is probably the tough part. You know, I won't say directly, but we had a mutual friend that rented out his car a lot, and he had some horror stories of just getting the car back and the button's not working or ripped off or broken. And because people listen, everyone has good intentions, but I think when you rent a car, you're going to beat the snot out of it.
So the one thing we had that was probably the worst thing, and we didn't even catch it because there was no way to catch it, was in the Huracan, somebody had spilt something in the button that puts the top up and down. So when we got the car back, everything worked fine. About 3 days later, the top would not go down anymore. No. And then come to find out, there was some liquid that was spilt in there, but the Huracan had been rented, you know, a couple times after that.
You don't
so we didn't know.
So
you can't sit there and pinpoint on who it was or anything like that. So that's probably like the worst thing that happened. And again, the dealership tried to charge an arm and a leg to fix it. Alex did it for a fraction of the price.
That's great. Shout out to Alex.
I'll say all you need is an
Alex.
Alex.
Car expert.
Alex. Yeah. So in speaking about passive income, which you were spot on, because I've also always said that, you know, any business that makes you money when you're sleeping is the best business you can possibly be in. Can you jump in a little bit about what your passive income, what you're doing now?
Yeah. So the first way we started was with the ATM business. You know, so whenever you go to like the bars or the strip clubs or anything like that, we would have ATMs, you know? So I got a funny story about the ATM real quick too.
Yeah.
So I used to have, again, like I'm not as religious as I want to be, but I've gotten a little bit more religious. But back then I wasn't at all, right? So I would put an ATM anywhere, including strip clubs, right? Yeah. And I wasn't at the big strip clubs, like, you know, like the ones on Dale Mabry or anything like that. I was in the ones in Drew Park and like the, you know, those ones back there were like the hidden ones and stuff, right? So every time I would go in there, the girls knew me, of course, as the ATM guy, right? So they're like thinking I'm coming in there with a big stash of cash.
Yeah, he's rich.
They're like,
Sugar daddy's here.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, this before I had the cars or anything, but they just knew like this is the ATM guy. So there was always this girl that was always like, hey, Poppy, let me take you to the back and give you a dance, right? This girl was hot. I'm talking about, she was Colombian with a rack that damn made every girl look like nothing, you know?
Okay.
And I'm like, look, I'm not going to mix business with pleasure, you know? But every time I would go in there, every time, no fail, hey, Poppy, let me give you a dance. Hey, Poppy, let me give you a dance. So one night, I was really good friends with the owner because, again, he had a couple strip clubs, so I had all of his strip clubs. I was like, look, next time I come in here, I'm going to mess with her. So when she gets mad, don't worry about it. I'll make sure I take care of her. He's like, all right. So I go in there that night, and she's like, hey, Poppy, you ready for a dance? I was like, you know what? I've had a bad week. I was like, I think I will take that dance. She's like, all right. She takes me to the back, you know, gives me the dance, the lap dance, about 3 songs long and everything like that. Doing all her stuff and everything like that. Great dance. I enjoyed it very thoroughly, you know. Saw everything I wanted to see. And then I go to pay her money. I give her Monopoly money. She starts yelling, Poppy, this is fake money. I look at her, I was like, those are fake tits. You know? She goes yelling to the owner. She's like, ba-da-da-da-da, just like cussing me out in Spanish left and right and everything like that. And he's just dying, laughing, rolling on the floor because he knows what's up.
Yeah.
That's she's like, it's not funny, it's not funny. And at the end, I was like, I tipped her out, of course, and everything like that. And I was like, you know, I was like, thank you for the dance and everything. But he just thought it was the funniest thing in the world too. So, you know, but that's how I started off with my income was with ATMs. It was passive recurring. The only thing with the ATMs is you do have to go out there and load them, you know?
Yeah.
So then we got into the credit card segment and processing the ATM. So the way I made most of my money was processing the ATMs. So if somebody would do what I would do, like they would own like a fleet of ATMs, let's say 10, 20 ATMs or whatever, I would be the processor. I would go and I would be like the guy that was the in between the bank and Visa and MasterCard and like the processing networks.
Okay.
So that's very, to me, I mean, I say it's easy money now because I've been doing it for so long, but it's passive money, reoccurring money. You're making money 7 days a week, all times of the night, because no matter where the ATMs are at, if somebody's using that ATM at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're making money. And because I was doing processing, it enabled me to do processing in every state.
Yeah.
So I had ATM people in Alaska, ATM people in California, Oregon, New York, Chicago, everywhere. So, and the great thing about it is I was able to travel to all these places also and write them off as tax write-offs because I had clients there. So I would make sure, hey, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to come see you for lunch one day. And even though I'm going to go there for 3 or 4 days for other things, but I can at least write it off for, you know, my taxes.
And now, did you actually have to put equipment in there, or you were just like middlemaning?
So when I was processing, no equipment. They would, you know, they would own their own ATMs and stuff like that. And I still had ATMs out in the wild, is what I'd call them at the time, because you know you still want to be hands on the ground, know what's going on. And then I had a whole bunch in Ybor City, and then one time, again, there's competition and everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything gets saturated. There was a guy who tried to put an ATM on one of the spots I had. I reached out to him. I was like, look, man, I was like, there's no need to compete. I was like, if you want, instead of you having to go to talk to the owner of this place and try to get him to do things and try to pay him off or everything, I was like, why don't you just buy my Ybor City route? Because I was like, Ybor City is profitable, but again, clubs don't always open at certain times. So sometimes you'd have to go on a Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Sometimes at Saturday.
For filling up the machines.
Yeah. Sometimes one place would be closed. So I just got tired. And then parking became a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, you know what?
Also, just walking around with cash in
walking
Ybor
around,
has got to be.
mind you, it's not like I'm walking around with like a shirt that says I'm the ATM guy or anything like that, or sugar daddy or anything.
Doesn't say Brinks on your shirt.
I would probably always like wear like the worst kind of jeans you could see. My hair would be all that time if I had hair, it'd be all messed up.
Yeah, I was like, hair. Come on, Ross.
So I looked like I was like broke, honestly. So they just kind of keep a low profile. But then when he bought that part of it, I got more into the processing side of it anyway. And I was like, you know what? There's no need to even keep filling ATMs. It's just, again, took a lot of my time and I didn't want to waste the time. So I only have literally one physical ATM that I still own, which is in a smoke shop that I own with my brother in a building that we have.
Can I again? And I'm sorry, Tom. I hope I didn't interrupt. I want to go. How does one go? I'm going to get into ATMs. Like, I imagine you got to buy your first ATM. Do you go to an ATM manufacturer and you go?
No, you could come through me and I would set you up with the place that, because like if you go to the manufacturer,
you hear that? Buy Raz's PD. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, okay. So,
I have a connection, is what it is, kind of thing. So like it's like.
But I meant you yourself. Like, what was the day that you went, I'm going to do ATMs now?
So the way it started is I had an investment in a gas station.
Okay.
At the time, and I was working at a bank. So I was a regional director for a bank at the time in Tampa. And the gas station I had investment in, they're like, hey, we need an ATM for our gas station. Can you get one from the bank? I'm like, banks don't put ATMs in little gas stations.
Yeah.
I was like, but let me see what I can find out. There's some guys that had ATMs in the Tampa space, and I was like, you know what? I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I want to put an ATM in my gas station, but I want to own the ATM. And they're like, okay, fine. So I bought the ATM. They sold me a used ATM at the time.
Can I ask what that costs? I'm just curious.
The used one at that time was $500, super cheap.
Okay.
Now,
are they still a little higher?
No, they're around $2,500 to $3,000, depending on what you want to get with the ATM.
Okay.
Like like there's like different variations, right? You can have one that just spits out 20s. You can have one that spits out 20s and 5s. So if you're going to do that, it's going to pay a little bit extra.
Okay.
And then there's two big main brand manufacturers. It's like one's called Highest Song and one's called Gen Mega.
Okay.
They're like the two big. There's like almost like Lamborghini, Ferrari kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So I bought this used one from these guys, and at the time the store wasn't like that busy on the ATM side, but I threw $500 in the machine. I think I made like $200 that month from the machine on that reoccurring $500. So remember when you put
so you're making 2 on every 5?
Yeah. So remember, because like every time the money gets dispensed, it goes into your account the next day.
Okay.
So depending on what your cash flow is, if you put $5,000 in there, you can go back and fill it up once every 1 week or every 2 weeks. If you have like $1,000, you put $1,000 in there. As long as it gets taken out, once it gets back into your account, which is usually the next day, unless it's the weekend, and you go back and put it the next day. So I was like, instead of having this money in a savings account that's not paying me anything, I'll just throw it in these ATMs, right? So I had another gas station that I had investment in, so I put an ATM in that one. And then my third location was the location of a friend, right? That one I had to again, he was a friend, but at the same time, he was a business guy. He was like, look, I already have an ATM in here. What's going to make it different? You're my boy. I'm going to take care of you. But, why should I put you in here? And I went in and I was like, look, your ATM is always out of it because it shows like if it's error code. Yeah. And the error code said it was out of money.
Okay.
I was like, your ATM is always out of money. And I was like, one, I'll make sure it never runs out of money. And two, I'll make sure you start making more money on here. Because like whatever his split was, I was like, I'll give you a better split. Because the way it works is like you're paying these merchants rent, right? Yep. So you're like, okay, if I have an ATM machine in your place of business, and it depends on what the business is, right? Strip clubs, they usually get a higher commission because you're making a lot more
cash,
on it, right? Grocery stores, you're making usually like a 50-50 split on it nowadays, right? So if the fee was $3, they make $1.50, I make $1.50.
Okay.
Right? At the time, I think he was making $1. I was like, look, man, I'll give you $1.50 just to, because we're boys and stuff like that. Leave me in here. So when I first went in there, again, so I was just learning the ATM space. Had no clue what was going on with it because these guys just would show me what they would show me, which wasn't much. They would go in there, they would program the machine, they would place it in there, and they would just show me how to load the cash, and that was it.
Okay.
And I could go on the portal and pull up reports. And then I wanted to learn more. I was like, look, how do you install these machines? How do you program these machines? They wouldn't tell me. So I was like, you know what? I saw there was an ATM conference in Miami at the time. So I went down to the conference, again, not knowing anything, not knowing how it worked. Started just going to every booth, every vendor. What do you do? Okay, I have 3 ATMs right now. I'm planning to grow. What advice? What do I need to know? How would I use you, right? And eventually I met the processing companies. And then from that point on, I figured out how to do all the other stuff.
Okay. Once
I got the third machine in there, I noticed that his volume was decent, but there was a lot of declines. And I looked at the declines, and it was every time somebody's trying to take $20 out, they were getting declined because they had insufficient funds. Now, mind you, this store was in the ghetto. And in the ATM space, those are your best.
Yeah, I bet, yes.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring you a new machine in here because when I went to the conference, I learned that there's different types of ATM machines. You have some that just do 20s. You have some that do 20s and 10s and so forth. So I put one in there that did 20s and 10s, right? And it pumped up its volume 200%.
Because they can take 10 out now instead of 20 minimum.
Still $3 fee though.
Yeah,
so they still pay $3 to take out the $10. But there were still declines on that. I was like, damn, you know what? What if I put $5 in here? So I did 20s and 5s. Still, people were taking.
What are you paying on a $5?
$3.
Still paying $3.
Still, yeah.
God, real quick, I just want to say this. Sometimes one of my favorite things when we're at the casino is I like when the receipt's hanging out of an ATM and I look at it. But I've seen people take $20 out, pay $6.95 for a fee, and then it'll say available balance $1 something. And I'm like, yo,
it would all the time. I mean, the $5 transactions were like it was almost like porno to me. Like I would look up on the portal at night sometimes to see, and I would just look at like $5. I was like, man, because like again, when you're having to replenish the ATM, the fives, like you're not having to replenish.
Oh, that's
much
easy.
Cash.
Yeah.
You know, like $1,000 in fives lasts a lot longer than $1,000 in 20s. So it's just like wow, So we were in that space for a long time, and then COVID hit, which man, we ended up doing so well during COVID. Like a lot of businesses suffered during COVID. That's when I made all my money. I'll be honest, like all my money was made because the big banks were all closed either, or they had long lines. So everybody just started using the ATM machines, you know, and we just ended up doing really well with that. Ended up selling the route, but stayed with the processing. And then we ended up getting more into the credit card processing also.
So, Raz, let me, and I don't want to get too much in that. We're going to lose most of the audience here. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. How does... Okay, you go into a 7-Eleven, you slide your...
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were about to say just sell the machine.
No, I'm saying you go in, you slide your card in, you're going to take $100 out, right? You it says the fee's $6, right? And you accept it, or $6.95, or whatever. You accept it, and the money kicks out. So you're splitting the $6.95 with the thing. Where does a processor make money on that?
The processor makes money on the back end. So there's something called interchange. So Visa and MasterCard and all them pay back end money on that.
Okay.
So that's where that money comes in. So that's where the process. Well, actually, the processor
is that where you're accepting a fee on the ATM, but then your bank's also charging you? Okay, I got you. Okay.
And the way that works usually. So what happens with the processor? So let's say like you guys came up to me and said, hey, we got ATMs that we want to put out there. What are you going to charge us? Right. I would say I'm going to charge you, let's say like 10 cents per transaction.
Okay.
Okay. So your fee that you're charging everybody is $3, general math, right? So you do 100 transactions, you make $300, right? I'm charging you 10 cents per transaction.
Are you 30?
30. But you're also making extra money on the back end called interchange. That's that back end money that the bank charges the customers. It's pennies on the dollar, but it adds up. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, it'll be more than $30. It might be $60 or maybe $70. Out of that $70, I'll get 30. You guys are making $40 extra on top of your $300 that you made from that machine.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So what you're saying is we need to get an ATM for the studio.
Is this Raz? And again, I'm not trying to infringe on your business at all. Is this still a viable business? Like, is it, or is it is everything kind of shifted a little?
So I think it all depends on the locations.
Okay.
Right. If you can get a casino, would be the goal.
Oh yeah,
right?
But whoever's got casino,
the casinos have I think the casinos do their own machines because talk about the greatest business. You go to the casino ATM. You take out $1,000, you put it on the table. They take that $1,000, put it back in the machine. You run out of your money. You go back and get it. Yeah. And you go back and pull out the same $1,000.
It's the only machine that hits every time.
And you're paying $6.95 every time to take out the same $1,000 from the ATM machine. So if you could get a casino, that's golden. Or like the little casino cruise ships and things. Again, bars and clubs, places that take cash only, right, are usually the best places. Some of the mom and pop stores, but like some places are just nowadays you start seeing because everybody's taking Venmo, everybody does Cash App, and so the ATM business to me is not as viable. But there's still some guys that are doing really well with it. And the other place that you could do really well is if you do like events, like fairs,
like a temporary setup type thing,
where you got like mobile ATMs. So you go like somebody's got like a car show, right, and they got like vendors out there with tables and food trucks and stuff. You go out there and you put like 5 or 6 ATMs. You can make money like that. And
this might be the Eastern European criminal in my mind. What stops someone from just rolling up with a dolly and going like, now it's my ATM? Does that happen? I assume it happens, right?
Never happened to me. And when we used to do mobile events too, we would chain them.
Oh, okay.
Like if I took like 3 ATMs out there, I would put the ATMs back to back and run chains through it. So if you got $1, then you're gonna look kind of weird trying to take 3 ATMs, down the thing. A lot of these guys do the same thing. They train them to a tree, train them to other ATMs and things like that.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's, it's fascinating because one of our recent shows was about sexy, unsexy businesses that make you a lot of money. And that's the stuff that I think people don't think about.
No, I mean, the rental car business is what everyone thinks is going to be like, ooh, but you're like, no,
Yeah, 'cause
I
you
made all my
look
money
cool.
on ATMs and processing.
Yeah. But,
And it's pennies. You're making pennies.
Yeah.
But like, again, it adds up, right? Because you're talking about like millions of transactions. Well, you take, so it's crazy because when I first got into the processing, we would do things like half a cent, and somebody's like half a cent, that doesn't even make sense. But when you do half a cent times 1 million transactions,
oh yeah,
that's a big amount of money. So like even half a penny can make you so much money, and people don't even realize like how valuable half a penny is.
Yeah, and the number of transactions is where it comes into. Yeah,
It's volume.
No, that's fascinating. So you're still doing on the processing side,
Still do
right?
the ATM processing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other business ventures or?
We do credit card processing now too. That's where we kind of segued more into now because we see that's where everything is going, right? I told you I have 3 kids. They're all in their 20s. They've never really used the ATM machine except if we had one in the garage at the time. And they would just use it to kind of flex on their friends or something. So the credit card processing, though, because we see everywhere you go, everybody takes pretty much credit card.
Yeah.
With Apple Pay or some other way. So we have those set up in a lot of different spaces. And again, passive recurring income. You're not making as much as you would with the ATM because you're not making $3 a transaction. On that one, you literally are making pennies. But again, volume adds up, and you're not having to go out there and load machines or anything like that. It's usually just you place the machine and you're good to go. And a lot of these are plug and play, right? So we have like clients all over the U.S. We just send them the hardware, they plug it in, and we start making money right then and there.
Oh wow, that's great. That's fantastic. Let me ask you a couple of questions that I've always wondered. You might be the guy to know.
Okay.
Probably a Google search would have helped me too, but
ChatGPT.
sometimes I just don't have time to think about asking these. As it relates to ATMs and casinos, right? Okay. And this isn't me. This is a friend. Okay. Sometimes it's late and you've run out of your cash. Your cash is out. Your markers are maxed out. The ATM limits have been hit. Right.
I've hung out with that guy.
Yeah. Frank.
Yeah.
Dirty Frank.
Yeah.
Dirty gambler Frank. Why? Here's what I've always wondered. Why? Okay, Raz, you know that, maybe because you don't go to Hard Rock that often. You can buy gaming tickets. Are you familiar with this now? It's the new thing on the ATMs at casinos.
Where you can use a credit card to buy the tickets?
Well, no, you can. It has to be a debit card,
and
it has to be signed up with the casino.
Okay.
But you can buy up to $3,000, and it just prints a voucher.
Okay.
And it makes like a purchase on your card, right? But where I'm going with this question is, why does it seem like at times it's very difficult to get money out? And I don't mean it because you're poor.
Why'd you look right at me when you said that?
Not you. I'm just as a punchline of the joke. Well, when you're out of money, you can't get money out. No, what I mean is like, you have a card in whether it's a credit card or debit card or anything, right? Let's just go down one of two paths. You have a debit card,
right?
You put it in. Let's say you take 1,000 out, and then you go to get more money, and it says nope, limits exceeded.
Yep.
You can't take any more out, and that's a policy by the bank, right? The bank makes
Daily
that
limits.
policy.
Yep.
Okay. Again, why isn't it like, or now you have a credit card, right? Okay. You can maybe cash advance it. So you can put it in, put a pin in, they'll give you a pin. Or if you don't have a pin, you can do a cash advance. And then you go up to the casino counter with your ID, your players club, your credit card, and then they like make you do the process again.
Right.
And then they print you out and give you your money. But what I'm saying is, why can't this all be done at the machine? Like, why can't I go up with my Amex, right? And say, I want 10,000 right now. And then it just gives me the 10,000. Like, it's like there's so many. Like, is it because I could then just call Amex and be like, that wasn't me?
Most likely fraud is probably the big thing, right?
But I'm thinking the ATM has a camera. They're going to be like, that definitely was him.
Yeah, but again, like then they have to go through and look at all the footage and everything like that. I think fraud, but I do think that it's going to come down the pipeline soon where you will be able to put in your debit card.
Okay.
Where you'll be able to put in a debit card, but still probably have limits, right? But as long as you know your PIN number, because that's why the debit card, you have a little bit more flexibility with it than a credit card because you have your PIN number on it. And that's as long as, like you can't dispute that, right? If somebody, because if you give somebody your PIN number, then that's on you.
I gotcha.
So I could see where like down the road, casinos would maybe have it where you could do your debit card in there. Because again, it's going to make it simpler for them.
Yeah, it's always so frustrating to me that it's like, and again, even the cash advance side, you can hit a limit on that where they go, oh no, your bank's declining it. You call your bank and the bank's like, hey, sorry, we have a limit per day on daily transaction amount. And again, I know this is slipping into, it's a great segue into gambling talk, but it is slipping into degeneracy. But again, not speaking real here, just these are all abstract thoughts. Nothing is more frustrating than staring at 6-figure balance and then there's no way to get your money out. Like you're done. Like the bank's like, nope.
I think the reason why they do that though is because they don't want, like, if you end up losing that money, for you to try to go back at them and say, well, you allowed me to take this money out.
I was gonna say maybe it's for your own self. It's like, are you sure you want to do this?
You gotta chase losses, man. You gotta chase losses.
Because there's a story about this one guy that was like a billionaire or something like that.
Yeah, the Oriental Trader magazine guy. Yeah, Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, and then he ended up suing him. So I'm sure, like, there's probably things in place where, like, you know what, in order to kind of keep our assets safe from this, put limits on people that way, so they can't come back to us and say, well, you let me put this much, you let me take all the money out the machine, and I was drinking at the time and they had no clue what I was doing. Because think about it, like, I know you don't drink or anything, but there's a lot of people that in Vegas, that's all they're doing, and the drinks are free. So if you're sitting there drinking at a slot machine and you have your debit card in there the whole time, and all you gotta do is put in your PIN number, you're just a free cash flow until you run out.
No, you're right. And I guess I didn't look at, that's where, I don't know, I guess my brain isn't wired that way. I start to think about, like, we were talking, what were we talking about, Tom? Recently on one of the shows where it's, I guess my brain doesn't look at it like, it was the people stealing Tesla parts out of the trash can.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Tom worked at Tesla and they had to destroy the parts because someone would come get the parts. And the risk was that someone would put them on their old truck and then crash, and then they would sue Tesla.
Yep.
My thought isn't, if I lose all my money, I'm like, boy, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to tell anybody. Not, I'm going to go lawyer up and try to get my money back. Like, but I guess the, because how do I go into a lawyer office and be like, listen here, Dragon Link wasn't hit. Yeah. I was certain it was going to hit, and I lost every penny I had,
So when I was on the cruise recently, their machines didn't pay out right then and there. They put it on your room card, and you were able to use your room card to access more cash if you wanted. So again, I know if they could do it on the cruise ships, they can easily do this in, like, Vegas and all these other casinos. But I think the thing is, like, that they're worried about is how far will people go, right?
That's true. Oh, man, let me tell you about
how far will Frank go.
Frank has gone far on a cruise ship. Also, you got to be careful with that, because depending on the cruise line, and if anybody doesn't understand, let me just clarify here. What Raz is saying is you get a ship card, right, when you get on the boat, and it's tied to your room. And you
tied to your credit card.
Yeah, that's true. And you go to the casino and you're just gambling off of that card. Almost no limit. No limit. But what I learned on one cruise line, and I can't remember, I don't want to say which one because I can't remember, but it was one of the obscure ones. I got on the boat day one and I went hard. $7,000.
You mean Frank? Frank went hard?
Frank, you're right. Thank you.
There you go.
Frank went hard. $7,000. What I learned at that policy of that cruise ship was that they take day one of your average spend and they times it by the days of your cruise.
Oh, no.
Right?
Wow.
And then they pre-auth your card for that.
Wow.
Because their assumption is you're going to do that every single day. Now, not Frank, okay?
Not
Sarah and Montgomery James from Alabama, all right? They might have gone and got themselves a couple of drinks because they didn't need the drink package. They're not crazy. And by darn, Sarah wanted that tote bag. So that's like $14, right? So this cruise, 7-day cruise, they just divide that up. What are you, $100 and something, right?
Yeah.
Now, Frank did $7,800. And Frank promptly got a letter from the cruise ship to come talk to them at the
knock
counter.
on the door.
Yeah, because, they were having a trouble pre-authorizing nearly $70,000 on Frank's credit card. And it turned into a nightmare because I was like, listen, I'm going to try not to go that hard again. That was a lie. But it turned into a whole thing. And they were basically like, listen, when we get back into harbor, we have to talk to corporate and we'll figure this out and it'll be fine. I was like, listen, I'm not going to gamble past my means, but I'm going to try not to do nearly 10,000 a day.
Right.
But it was just their ship policy is whatever day one is, they're going to average that out as what your every day is going to be. And man, did I go too hard on day one.
Got to chase that dragon.
Yeah. You know what? This would be a great segue into discussing gambling.
Sounds great.
And but before we leave business talk, let's give a plug to our other sponsor real quick, if you don't mind, Tom. Is that
Fire
okay?
away.
Tom, you want to fire this boy off? Little computer quest. You always do a great computer quest.
I was to say, this one is I forgot we had the commercial cut.
Well, no, you just intro the computer. It's the
computer. Just intro the computer.
Just intro the computer cut. the commercial. Man, we're terrible. Hey, Raz, would you like to advertise on our podcast? It's really
hey computer. Hey computer, go ahead and cut. Computer Quest for all your small business, large business, any size business's needs.
Yeah. Watch this commercial, right?
Watch this commercial.
Yeah, you should probably tell the camera, not me.
Watch this commercial.
This episode is sponsored by Computer Quest, a trusted provider of business IT services across the United States and internationally. Computer Quest delivers comprehensive technology solutions, including managed IT services, cybersecurity solutions, network infrastructure, cloud services, and proactive system monitoring and maintenance, designed to minimize downtime and protect your company's data. Their team works with businesses of all sizes to improve operational efficiency, strengthen security, and ensure reliable technology performance so that owners can focus on their business and not worry if their systems are running or client data is protected. If your organization is ready for dependable, scalable IT support, visit cqbits.com or contact their team directly at sales@cqbits.com to learn more.
Wow. Computers. We don't even know how they work, do we? Computer Quest does.
I would hope Frank knows how they work.
Hopefully Frank knows how computer works. Doesn't know how ATMs work. Doesn't know how to stop gambling. Let's talk about gambling, Raz.
All right.
Yeah.
We are gamblers. Tom, too, is a recent, I don't know if you know this much about Tom. Tom used to give me a lot of crap about gambling.
Yeah.
He used to say you're an idiot. You're a dummy.
I don't
You're
think-
wasting
I don't
money.
think that happened.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a little, but you're throwing money away. I would be like, Tom, come to the casino with us. And he'd be like,
Or I would go with like $20 and be like, oh, it's gone. I don't want to do this anymore.
yeah,
It's lame.
Tom would slide a 20 in, hit 4 spins, and be like, well, I'm done with that.
Night's
And
over.
he'd be like, I don't get how you do this. I'm not built for this. And then Tom started getting reels about gambling, like
Yep.
Vegas Matt and
Yep.
Bluff and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Bretsky.
I enjoy
And then he
Bretsky.
was like, dude, you know this machine? I'm like, yeah, man, it's down at Hard Rock. And what, I don't know, was it you hitting that 200 or something?
I mean, yeah, I think it was one of the nights that like I brought like $60 and left with like $260, and I was like, oh, this can happen.
I thought it was 200K, by the
No,
way. You know?
no.
I'm like, damn, man. Like,
No.
No, he Tom hit pretty decently for
Yeah.
what the bet level was,
Yeah.
and then he was like hooked. So now Tom's in it. He's in the group of gambling.
right.
Oh yeah.
So Raz, have you always gambled? Like as long as you was back when you were 21?
Even before I was 21. So
Oh,
I used to like,
nice, okay.
I used to play cards with my friends and my
Yeah,
cousins
yeah.
and stuff like that. We would play like tunk or spades, and there was always money involved, you know. And then we would buy like the little mats like this with like blackjack or things like that, and we'd always play blackjack and things. So for as long as I can remember, I love gambling. You know, it's just I mean, of course you want to win.
Yeah.
But it's a fun thing for me too. I mean, like here, like you said, there's a poker game. I'm down for it. You know,
Yep.
We have one in our neighborhood too. And it's not about like, who's going to win or who's going to lose. It's all about just like having a good time, enjoying your time. And I always look at it like this. You got people that sit there like, oh, I can't believe you gamble. I can't believe you spend so much money. But like, it's entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like when somebody goes to Dave & Buster's, they spend $300 at Dave & Buster's to win some tickets, win a stuffed animal. They feel like they've had the best night of their life. Well, what's the difference between you spending $300 at Dave & Buster's and me spending $3,000 at a casino? I'm having a great time. It's killing 2-3 hours for me. And then the good thing is after I met Mike, I learned a lot about what the comps that you get. Shout out to Chase. Look out for me next time. I'll be there in April. So, and then all of a sudden it's like an extra benefit that you weren't even thinking about. So
Yeah, no, I think that I have the similar story as you. So when I was very young, my grandfather would be like, I think I'm like 6 or 7. He's teaching me poker. Right. And we're talking like 5 and 7 car stud, which I don't think people play anymore. It's everything's Hold'em now. Right. But back in my day, what's wrong? You okay?
I was just adjusting the mic.
Okay. Just making sure you're okay. Tom, did you grow up in a gambling household or no?
I used to play dice a lot.
What?
I used to play a
like
game
down
called-
with the black kids in
I used to
the
play-
alley?
I used to play a game called CeeLo, and yes, it was with the ethnics. Jesus. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, I used to play CeeLo, 3 dice game.
CeeLo?
CeeLo.
That's I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Of
What's
course you
what's a
haven't.
3? What can you?
So you'd roll 3 dice,
Okay.
and the goal is to get 2 that match, and then whatever the third one is how many like points you got.
Okay.
So you'd get 2, and then you'd roll like a 4. So you'd have 4 points, and someone has to beat your 4 points.
What
And
if you didn't get to the match? Do you keep rolling?
You just keep rolling.
Oh,
And
okay,
then if you got 1, 2,
Have you heard of this game?
No.
God, you're the
So-
blackest
And I
person
grew
on
up in
this
the
show.
hood. I grew up in the hood too.
and then if you got, and I gotta remember the exact thing. but it
Is
was-
CeeLo green? Is that
not
the same?
No, not
Okay,
the
his
same.
name's
You
not
didn't-
thrown
you can't-
back to
You can't yell at these dice. And if I remember correctly, it was 1, 2, 3 was automatic win, 4, 5, 6 was automatic lose.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I had those backwards because it's been a minute since I played dice.
What was that game Alex mentioned today? I wonder if that's the same game.
Oh, I didn't even.
He mentioned today Bicchio or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't want to look it up.
But what you do is everyone would throw money in the middle of a pot, and then whoever rolled the dice won the pot. So that's how I started.
But how would you, okay, so if there's 10 urban youths standing around.
Well, usually it was like 2 or 3 people would do it, and you'd go against each other. And then like if somebody like essentially bet with me, then we would split the pot.
Oh, okay. That's what I was trying to understand. Okay.
You wouldn't
Wow.
do too many people.
All right.
It would be a smaller group.
Okay.
And we used to do it outside.
Well, I got to
Against
roll you in there
against
with the
wall.
street dice. That is not what I had on my
love
bingo card
CeeLo.
for you today, Tom.
Love
Was street
CeeLo.
dice. But I was gonna say, my grandfather would be like, "We're gonna play 5-card stud," but my grandmother would be like, "Here's $10, little Mike, right?" And then my grandfather would be like, "Hey, you turn that 10 into a 20?" But then he'd take my money because he's way better. Probably, yeah. I was like, "Is a 3 of a kind beat a full house?" He's like, "Never." But yeah, so I it's much the same with you. I gambled, and then I remember when I was 21, I was dating a girl, and she was like, "We should go to the casino," which was Hard Rock. It was a bingo hall basically here. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. And that was when I think
It was a $40 buy-in for the poker.
Yeah, but also the slot machines were level 2, so they had to play bingo. Do you remember the slot machines played a
I don't
game?
remember them even having slot machines when I first got here.
Oh, okay, so that's before me. But they used to, here in Tampa, the slot machines used to have a little screen on the top, and it would play a game of bingo automatically. You weren't doing it. And if it got a bingo, then you knew you were going to win something on the machine. If it got no bingo, you weren't going to win anything.
wow.
That's how
So
they
crazy.
skated the gaming laws.
Right.
But I remember I just went there and I was like, this is cool. Like, this is so fun. And then as I got more money and became successful and stuff, I got more and more hooked on it. And then what was your first trip to Vegas, Raz?
Oh, man. It was 1999 maybe or 2000.
Okay.
Like that was my first time I ever went to Vegas. Stayed at the Excalibur. Just
Okay.
That's how like broke I was. You know, like,
yeah.
It's $15 a night, and I was so
Yeah.
excited. You know, I mean, like I still have a picture of me standing in front of a yellow Dodge Viper because it was like the first time I'd ever seen anything like
let's
that. in my
go.
life.
Was it the one on the top that they were giving away, or was it just out
it was
there?
just
Okay.
in the streets and
Okay.
stuff like that. And I mean, like again, like I was never a slot guy till I met Mike.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just a blackjack guy at that time, and you know, I don't even and I was like you back then, like $60, $100. You know, it's like would not spend that much, but that was the first time I went to Vegas. I used to go to Atlantic City a lot because grew up in North Carolina. I had cousins that lived in D.C., so I would drive to D.C. And I remember, like, we would get to D.C. sometimes like 9, 10 o'clock at night, jump in my cousin's car and go to Atlantic City that same night. We went one night. Ja Rule was there playing craps the same night we went there. And I remember, like, at that time I had a little bit of money with me. I think I took like maybe like $1,500 with me to the casino. And I'm sitting there trying to like stay with him playing craps.
See, that's where you went wrong. You should have just yelled at him because that seems to work best for Mike.
First off, I didn't yell at Exhibit.
Well, the thing is, though, then he got a marker.
Yeah.
And I could not keep up with him after that.
Yeah.
Man. And I was like, and he was throwing crappy dice, man. I was like, you know, I was so pissed off at him at that night. But
That's funny. So when my very first Vegas trip, I was like, I wasn't big into slots then. I thought to myself, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do card games. And I remember I sat down Excalibur, because same story as you. Me and my buddy would go because it would be like $29 a night. And this was 2007 or 8.
Yeah.
So a little after you, but I went and sat down at a $1 blackjack game. Excalibur had $1, and some guy proceeded to scream at me for hitting on a $1 game. And it wasn't like he was at a $1 table betting 100.
Yeah.
He was betting $1. Then the dealer starts yelling at him to stop yelling at me. And then the pit boss starts yelling at everyone. And I was like, nope, I don't like this at all. I didn't like it. And then I went over and I looked at craps, and it was 80 guys jammed into a table, screaming words I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, not going to get involved in that. And then they had like a few other games, and I none of them made any sense to me. And then I remember I went to the roulette table, and there was a big black dude there. And he was just stacking chips everywhere, covering like giant stacks on numbers. And I was like, I would put down like $5 on black and it'd spin. And I remember him going, hey, little man, you ain't gonna win anything doing that. And I was like, I know, but like, I don't know. He's like, just follow me. And I was like, I don't have that much money. And he was like, doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. And I remember the biggest stack he had, I put like $50, which at the time for me was like a lot of money. And, that number hit, and it that's 35-1, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So like, I mean, do the math on that. What is that? I think I walked away with
like
100 and or like
no $50, 35-1 is almost $2,000.
Yeah, sorry, a little. Yeah, and I thought it was amazing. I was like, holy crap! Like it blew my mind, right? I was like, oh my god. And he was like, yeah, man, it's the only way to play. And then I just proceeded to lose a good portion of money, because like it didn't land every single time. So I was always intimidated to do anything, but I would gravitate back to slots because it was easier. You just slid your money in, hit the button and hope. And then I remember hitting my very first like jackpot, which is over $1,200 at the time back then. And it was like on a quarter machine, a 75-cent bet, 3 quarters, and it was amazing. And they make you do all this paperwork, and I was like, oh my god! And I was hooked. And it just the problem with gambling is that you're always chasing,
Yeah.
So the tough part for me, and you've seen it, Raz, you've been out there with me, is that I'm not satisfied with like $5 bets anymore. Now I've been to the land of knowing what $100 spin can win you. So I have trouble going back and like enjoying that. Where I'm trying to adjust it a little for me.
Yeah.
A couple of trips to Hard Rock, I've been like, you know what? Let's just stay on penny denom. We don't always have to go to a dollar denomination.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help when like you said on your social media feed, you see like Bluff and like Vegas.
That's the tough thing,
They're
yeah.
hitting like, $50 bets on it, and they're hitting these jackpots left and right. Lady Luck, I'm like, just like, what? Like, how are they hitting all these jackpots every time, man? It drives me nuts. I'm just
NG slots drives me crazy because it's always like $380 spin, and he hits it for like 200,000, and you're like, "Ow!"
Well,
3 times in 1 week.
It's like for your birthday when you're like, let's all go in and we're gonna do $100.
We did the group pool.
Man, I thought for sure we were gonna hit something big. I was like,
terrible.
this is it. We're in a high limit room.
Yep.
We're doing $100 spins. I'm like, this is what it's gonna be. We're gonna have that moment. I don't remember how many spins it was.
It was terrible. I fronted the next round just because I felt bad that everyone lost their money.
Nothing. I was like, man.
But here's the funny thing about that. Tom and Alex, my other buddy Alex, we went back to Vegas when we went for the convention.
Yeah.
And we went into the Mandalay Bay high limit room, same bank of machines. And it was like 17,000 on this machine, 8,000 on this machine. We were just hitting over and over and over again. So it's so funny. Like
I call Mike the slot whisperer.
Oh,
by the way,
100%.
Like I got him a cup, right? That says like
Yep.
Because the craziest thing is, I'm like, Mike, how do you know? Because again, I was not. Mike made me a slot junkie.
Yep.
I was never.
Same.
I was blackjack, and then got into baccarat. Those were my 2 games, and then of course the free bet. Then Mike, he's like, I was like, man, like I want to get more comps. He's like, look, the only way you're gonna get comps is gonna be by slots. I was like, I'm not good at slots, and he's like, just he's like, one weekend when I'm there, let's meet up. And that's the weekend we went together. So just a little backstory. I was a Sapphire member, and I thought I was the man back then with the Sapphire, right? So at MGM, right?
Yep.
It was Pearl. It was Sapphire, then Pearl, then Gold, and then Platinum.
Yep.
I was Pearl, thinking I was doing all right. One weekend with Mike got me from Pearl. It was September. Got me from like 14,000 points to 90,000 points. I got gold status one weekend with Mike. By then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get platinum before the end of the year, And sure enough, I did. Yeah. And again, from Mike's thing with the slot machines. But I was like, Mike, what slots do you know how to play? Which ones should I go, or which ones like? He's like, I just walk and that's the one. I pick.
They call him.
And I thought he was bullshitting. I'm like, man, he's just not trying to tell me his secret. But we would be walking to the casino, and he's like, wait, I got a feeling, let's go this way. And then some machine that's like in the middle that didn't even see, he goes, sits on it, $4,000 jackpot.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck, Mike?
Tom's seen it.
Well,
Tom's
yeah.
seen it.
And I think that's, so we talked about it, me winning a couple $100, but I think it was our first Vegas trip where I brought a couple $100 and I left up like $600-700, and I was just like, oh my God, this is the moment. I think that's where also we joke all the time with like our other friend Alex and stuff, was like, I was converted. And like, it was the same way that we were there, and he was just like, I like this machine. I'm going to sit down here. And I'm like, no, buddy, come on, it's late. Let's go. $10,000 jackpot. And it's just like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. And then our last trip, there was a machine in the middle of the floor that he was like, every day I'm going to go to that machine. I'm going to hit it one day. And then I think it was 18,000.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The major was like, I think it maxes out at 20 and it was like 17,890.
Oh, wow.
And I remember it was like 3 days in a row. I just kept going and I would throw a little bit of money at the machine. And then the next day I'd throw it and I was like, I'm going to hit this major. And then we all went down there and I was like, boom, major ball dropped, got it. And I was like, I knew it. So yeah, I don't, it's weird. I wish I could tell you guys what it was other than I do just feel like there's a thing that pulls me to certain machines and I don't know what it is. But,
I believe it.
But doesn't happen all the time. I'll tell you that. As a guy who's lost also.
I've seen that too. I've seen Mike's like, I'm feeling this one. There's been times like, man, I'm feeling this one. Why don't you go take it, Ross? Like, really, Mike? Yeah. Then it's like, I'm going to sit the one next to you. I'm sitting there like spinning nothing. But the one next to me hits. I'm like, Mike, what the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? One of my favorites with you, Raz, is that magic lamp game at Mandalay Bay. Yeah. So Raz and I go sit down next to each other, and Raz is just feeding this machine, and I could just feel his frustration. And he's yelling, these goddamn slot machines, they never pay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get up, and I think your girl was with us then, right? Yeah. And I go, he's like, I'm done. And I was like, Ross, let's go in again. How about we go in halves? I think we did $500 each or something like that, maybe even less, because you were pretty beat up at that point. And then he triple pops all 3 bonus, and he was over the moon. And I was like, oh, thank God, Ross won. But I don't know if I'm in the position to give the best advice. Obviously, the best advice is don't gamble. That's probably the smartest advice. But touching on what you're saying, if you want to get big comps from a casino, you want to get better free play, you want to get better rooms, you want to get better, everything covered. You got to play slots. That's the thing, because that's what they want. Blackjack guys always say it's them. No, it's not. You're a 50-50 chance for the most part. The casino doesn't care about what you want.
And not only that, but they sit at the table for hours, and you can make what they do on a slot machine in minutes.
Yeah. Matter of fact, one of my favorite stories is I was at Aria. There's a dealer there named Byron. I love this guy to death. I sat down, bought in. He was like, hey, Mike, how are you doing today? I'm like, good. I dropped my Noir card down to, so they'll swipe me for my comps.
Brag.
That was a little humble brag. And this guy across goes, and it was a blackjack table. I think it was just a $25 table, nothing crazy. And he goes, oh, hey man, you're Noir? And I was like, yep. And he's like, through blackjack? And I was like, nope, slots. And he was like, what? He's like, you can't get Noir with slots. And I was like, okay. Because it's early in the morning. I'm not here to argue with you. I was like, fine, whatever. And then the dealer goes, no, actually, sir, you get Noir a lot faster if you're on slots. And he's like, no, man. He's like, you got to play blackjack, or you got to do, I think he said roulette or something. And the dealer is like, no, man, blackjack's the worst way.
Yeah.
And then all he's doing is arguing, and the whole time I'm like, what are you arguing for? Like, what is the point? Like, why? Like, no one here's lying to you.
You're just tapping your card on the table. Like, that's here.
Like, nobody's here lying to you. Like, but it's there's such high risk with slots that's where those tier credits and points and everything pour in. So that's how you can get it. I mean, I love Baccarat. Raz
Baccarat's fun.
I'll sit at hours with Baccarat with Raz. I love a good Baccarat run.
It's a fun game too, and it's the pace of it makes it so, like, nice and easy where you can bet in, not bet in, and then you can go ahead.
It's easy to understand.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from somebody that doesn't play card games at all. I can understand Baccarat. Like, they went to we were all at the casino the other day and started playing Pai Gow. Like, that game makes no sense to me. It was so much chaos.
Have you played Pai Gow?
No, because everybody's like,
I'm hooked on it. Yeah. I'm hooked on it.
It's so complicated. I mean, I'm sure it's not.
It's not once you figure it out. It's just like Baccarat, where when someone tries to explain Baccarat to you the first time, you're like, what?
9, 8, 7.
We Alex and I, shout out to Alex. We went to Bellagio and we walked over to the Pai Gow. Would you want to do face up Pai Gow? I'm just giving you a tip. We walked over and it was, I think it was a $25 table. We sat down, bought in, no one else was there. And pit boss goes, Mr. Marisek, do you want us to raise the limit so nobody comes and plays with you? And I was like, yeah. So they raised it up to like $1,000 or something. That way, it just keeps anybody, it basically makes the table private for Alex and I. And we were like, listen, we don't know Pai that well. Can you explain it? So they explained it. And then we started playing. And if you're playing face up, they're basically fixing the cards for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're almost doing all the work. And it's fun. It is. But it's a push. It's 90% of the time you're just pushing. So you can run the clock on you can make $1,000 last for hours, if not even less than that.
And you still get comp for that, of course, too.
Yeah, you probably, again,
Not
just
as much.
very, it's very low points. But like you said, it was, I go out on the casino floor and slot machines in 30 minutes, I'll make what a blackjack player probably makes in weeks out at the casino in just about 30 minutes. But it's the nature of the promotion and everything in that regard. So, but you, playing with you is always fun because you get very emotional fast. So I love
wear it
it.
on my sleeve too. I know where so it's like, it's funny because like I said, when I first learned it was from slots, the next day I go out and I'm playing slots by myself.
Yeah.
I have my phone and my notes on, and I'm keeping track of how much I'm putting in each slot, how long I'm playing, and then looking because MGM has the app where you can look at what you're getting for your points right then and there. So I'm trying to figure out the algorithm because I'm trying to maximize how many points I can get, and like what's the secret? Like, do I got to play slots? And I was like, the secret is bet big and play long.
Yep.
That's it,
That's 100% what it is.
And I figured that out after I went through all these different machines and all these different times, and I had so many points, and I sat down with Mike for 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden we went in together on one machine and we bet like how Mike bets. And that one machine and that maybe 20 minutes with that machine did better than what I did all day long on my own. So I was like, okay, that's the secret.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Obviously, do you have a favorite machine you like to play now?
No, there's a few. I mean, man, I love Huff and Puff. But
they suck now.
It kicks my ass every time. But it's such a fun game, man.
It is.
That's the problem. Like that's the other thing too.
And they have so many variations that are
they
fun,
do.
but they all just suck
They
now.
all horrible.
Because like sometimes I gotta remember like these are we're playing for money and these are not video games. Because sometimes I look at them as like almost like a video game type of thing. And you kind of want to play it like that. But then you start losing money. You're like, okay, this is not as fun now.
This is real. This is real money.
But Huff and Puff is it's like so because I'll walk by and I'm like, fuck that, I don't want to play Huff and Puff. But then I'm like, man. 4 people played it and nobody's hit. It's due, and then I'll go, and then I'll be that 5th, 6th, and 7th person that doesn't hit on it. But Huff and Puff, the Dragon Link ones are always kind of cool. Let's see, what are the other ones? I like the guy with the little chef dude with the soup thing.
Oh, the soup dumpling guy.
I love the guy and the girl version of them are both really good.
The mummy one, but the mummy one, the mummy one, it just that one was hitting.
It's another one that just feels like it doesn't hit anymore.
I can only have luck in Vegas. And when I'm in Vegas playing Mo Money or the Yeti one too, great. Hard Rock here, never, just annihilated at it. So,
but I think that in general, Tom, is just Vegas because I think Vegas gives you more of an opportunity to get your money back. Like you put a little in, you get a little back. You put a little in, you get a little back. Where Hard Rock at times, it's like you can go to 10 different machines and nothing.
At times?
Lately. Every time. We went and sat down at this new machine. I'd never seen it before. Tom goes, I was in the restroom. I come back and Tom's like, dude, I got the bonus on this game and it sucked. I was like, what were you betting? He was like $5 and I won 8 on the bonus. And I was like, oof. So then I sit down and I'm hitting the button and I'm running through. I'm on my free play and I run through all my free play. And then I was like, I finally hit the bonus and I was like, okay, good. It's only on a 5-cent denom, not as high as I wanted. And it was a $17 bet or $16.70, something. It was an odd number. And I was like, okay. And we get it. And I was like, all right. Then we see all these big numbers drop. And I was like, oh, cool. But I don't know how the bonus works. And then Tom's like, oh, just wait, buddy. You get all these numbers, but unless you land a ball in the number, you don't get the number. $110.
Yeah.
And I was on a 10-cent denom. I mean, it's a $5 bet. So it was like I think it was a min or just below the min for it. And $5.85, $8 won. Yeah. And then the lady next to me is on a 1 cent bet or 1 cent, 88 cent spin and hit $22. And I'm like, this makes no sense at all.
I'm always complaining to Mike about the 1 cent bet thing. Because man, I feel like the machines are rigged to let the jackpots hit on the 1 cent bets. Because think about it, if they hit the jackpot, like if they hit like a bonus on that, then they're only paying $20, $30, but they could say, the machine paid out 7 jackpots today.
It resets the trigger.
Yeah, where if like you're betting $100 bet, they don't want to pay out $1,200 or $3,000. So I feel like the machines are rigged. I mean, again, it's an algorithm, and I feel like that because on the cruise I was like, okay, I'm gonna try something different. So I would just do the 1 cent, 88 cent bets. I was hitting jackpots and bonuses left and right.
Yeah.
Once I upped the bet to $5, nothing. I'm like, man.
Did you hit those bonuses on the first day, though? Because it felt like when we were on the cruise, the first day just wiped both of us. And I was like, I don't even want to go back anymore.
No, I think the first day is usually when the machines are
usually
friendlier.
We had bad luck, but I agree with you on that. First day of the cruise
because they want to keep you drawn in.
They know you ain't getting off that boat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's so many cool new games, and then you just get the bonus, and it drops down. But I also love Raz's theory on how people that don't bet a lot should not ever win.
Yeah,
but the people that bet a lot should win more. That's his. He should.
So first of all, if you don't have a player's card, you shouldn't win because you're just like you're stick and move. That's all you're doing. You know, you're just going to go. Man, you see, they go in there. Oh, my last time in Vegas. You know, my first time here. I'm so excited. Here's $20, and then they hit like a $700 jackpot. You're like, I've been on that machine for hours. I haven't hit shit. You know, like, so they shouldn't win. And then it should be by your tier card. So again, Mike's Noir, I'm Platinum. So I feel like he should win more than I do because he's obviously putting way more in, right?
Yeah.
So it's like anything. The more you put in, the more you should get out.
Yeah.
You know?
Frank and Tim just always hanging out at the casino together.
So if you're a Noir, you should have maybe like a 50% chance at the jackpot compared to like Platinum at 40%.
I agree.
30%. Because again, you're putting more money in than anybody else is. And you should have more chances to win.
I like the theory. I think you should also, though, on the same plays, like if you do hit a bonus, like if you're a certain tier with them, it should not pay out like we're $1,500 in, we make $100 back.
Oh, yeah,
is insane to me. Or when you do a $50 bet and you win $30 on a bonus, and you're like, what the hell? What was the point of this?
Or the worst thing is when you buy the jackpot.
I won't do buy jackpots anymore. It drives me nuts.
I think Alex and Anthony kind of killed that one for you.
I tried that. I'm thinking, okay, you know what? You could buy the jackpot. What a great deal. You know, I'm like looking at all the like mini max. I'm like, okay, if I hit one of these, I'll get my money and then some. You know, it's like $300 to buy the jackpot, and all of a sudden you're winning like $60. You're like, what the hell happened here? You know, and it's like, do you still want to play? You're like, oh no, cash me out, get me out of here.
It is a fun bit though, because I definitely convinced one of our other friends, Dewey, to do it like 3 times in a row, because I was like, it's always going to pay back your bet.
Nope.
No, it never does.
I like the Noir gets to win more. Let's ratify that. I agree. That's it. I should win more. I will say to both of your guys' testament, every time I see a news article from like Las Vegas local or something about like, you know, guy goes down to a slot machine, bets $5 and wins $50 million. His story is usually always my very first time in Vegas, or we come once every 5 years. It's never Dirty Frank who's gambling all of his family's money. He comes every other month.
I will say too, though, like when you like Hard Rock always shares when everyone hits a jackpot there, and like every time you like zoom into the screen and it's like $1.25 bet, 88-cent bet, $3 or $4. Like every once in a while you'll see like maybe a 25, but it's never anything crazy, and that's the person that wins, you know, $150,000.
Yeah, and then going back to you, where you were saying NG slots drives you nuts. That's gotten me a few times. Matter of fact, Tom and I were once at Hard Rock, and he left, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go cash out, right? So I was up pretty good, and I'm standing in line, but it's the longest line in the cashier. And I'm right in the high limit room, and next to me is the Dragon Link machine, and I'm just staring at it, and I'm like,
it's calling him like the Green Goblin mask.
I can just play a little bit. So I sit down in the chair, put the voucher in, I start doing some spins. 25 turns into 50 a spin, 50 turns 75. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try a couple $125 spins, because, like you said, you watch these guys do NG slot do these huge spins and they win massive money. And I told Tom this. I was like, okay, I'm going to try just a couple of $500 spins. First $500 spin, one of the balls is $125,000, and I have 5 of them. Oh, no. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's massive.
It makes that noise, like bing, 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 and then it just stops.
And then I do again, and it's like 4 $37,500 balls. Like, this is like pay off your house money. You know, this is, again, maybe not life-changing, but very, very, like, good night money.
Yeah. Hey, Hard Rock, it'll change my life. Just send it on over, buddy.
But obviously, none of them ever hit. It's just, it wipes me out. And I go, Tom, why did you leave me here?
It's my fault for leaving.
I've noticed that all these guys that are like on social media, they're usually like at El Cortez. They're never at like the MGM and all that stuff. So I wonder if like those slots pay better or anything like that. Or
we had Vegas Steve on, or sorry, Vegas Steve. We had Steve Johnson, a local kind of like Vegas celebrity, on one of our shows, and him and his wife go to El Cortez, and they say it pays out a lot more. Yeah, that was what their big takeaway was, that it felt like they were just winning and winning and winning.
I will say you also have to be careful though too, because I noticed this the other day, that they were showing the new Huff and Puff machine, and they had it on like the demo mode. So like he was betting and everything, but it was still, I forgot what the term was, but it was on like a demo mode, and he showed what the bonus could look like, and it was like very misleading. Yeah. Like it made like it seem like this guy just hit this like wild bonus, and it was just showing what the potential of the machine could be.
See, because I wonder that too sometimes. Like these guys are betting big.
Yeah.
And it shows that they're hitting these. And then when you look at their video, there's never anybody around them at the slot machines.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do they have the slot machine? Are they playing at like 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody's around? Or like something, how are they able to be at this machine, win this much money? Like you're talking about like 50,000 jackpots and nobody's even around them.
Well, also you were talking about earlier, I mean, when you were filling ATMs, you tried to look like nonchalant. If these guys are constantly posting on social media about just winning $600,000 and they always get paid out in cash and they carry it around, like I'd be worried about walking around.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of those influencers, again, I'll just play devil's advocate. Most of the influencers have security. They're just not on camera. I've seen that because we've seen Vegas Matt at Mirage and stuff. And when we're in Vegas, there's always like 3 dudes that are off on the side. You can tell are just their security.
Well, that was South Florida when we met Vegas Matt.
You got to have security down there. But the other thing is I think that, some of those channels are only showing wins. They're not always,
right.
They're if they go film for 4 hours to make a 45-minute video, it's probably a cut showing mostly wins.
Right.
That's why I give credit to Vegas Matt, because you can watch a 2-hour Vegas Matt video and watch him just get obliterated.
Right, yeah,
and I'm like, been there, man. Matter of fact, it'll make me sad sometimes because I'm like, I'll have a bad night at the casino and then I watch it the next day. It's 100%. I'm like, where was the trigger warning on this? So, Raz, any Vegas trips coming up?
I have one coming up at the first week of April.
Awesome. Yep, we've got to coordinate. We got to get back out there together. So ATM business is good. Anything else you want to talk? I know we're getting pretty long on time here. I just want to see if there's anything else.
Nah, man.
Anything you want to promote your business? How to, is there anything that's promotable?
Just the credit card processing, if anybody's interested in it.
Okay. How do they reach out to you?
They can DM me on Instagram.
Okay.
Journey with Raz.
I'll put all that.
Yeah. And then that way I'll go ahead and connect them with my son. He runs the businesses for me. So.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. And then Tom, any questions or anything to wrap up?
No, I think we touched base on everything. And congratulations on the new car.
Thank you
It's
very
exciting.
much.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys for having me too.
Yeah.
Man. It was definitely a great experience.
Thank you so much. I hope you liked it. I hope it's.
Hope I get to come back.
Yeah, I was saying, hope you want to come back.
No, I definitely do.
Yeah. We got to get you to Hard Rock at some point. I know you resisted.
yeah.
Man, like I said, I would rather get on a plane and go to Vegas or Biloxi or Atlantic City or Washington. Like one of those Borgata, anywhere.
What we need to do is we need to get a group of like 10 people and get a jet, and then
I'm down
Tampa
for that.
to Hard Rock.
I'm down for that.
It's so much money. Have you ever looked it up?
Wait, you mean Tampa to Vegas?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tampa to Hard Rock.
Yeah, I was like, where we going?
Right but we're parking on the roof, boys.
Tower 2.
Dude, Hard Rock. I have a helicopter pickup
Oh, really?
from Hard Rock. So if you ever want to do that.
From where? From your place to?
Yeah, my place. There's a helipad across the street from my house.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So
that might
on my
entice
land.
me. That might entice me to go to Hard Rock right there.
Yeah. I was supposed to do it with the wife, but she can't be in a car for more than 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm not putting you in a helicopter. So
yeah.
But no, like Tom said, Tampa to Vegas. Get a jet and
I'm down for that.
Yeah. That would be cool as hell to do that.
That would be a fun
you
trip.
get enough people and you can split the price up where it makes sense.
Definitely.
So
Can I ride underneath the plane?
you just hold on to the wheel.
You just got to find 10 people that I want to gamble
Tom,
too.
actually, you got to put a short skirt on and you got to serve everyone.
All right, I've done worse.
Emergency exits are here.
Yeah, exactly. You objectify me every episode anyways.
There it is. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, sweet
Shout out to our
tits.
sponsors. Great. Thanks, comment section.
Raz, thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming
appreciate
on.
you for having me.
Thank you guys.
Chase, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being an awesome. You're an awesome host for Raz and I. You're the best. We'll be out in Vegas soon. We'll give some of our money back to MGM. They need it. They absolutely need it. And please remember, like, subscribe, join the Patreon. We can't
gotta get the
God,
Patreon.
no. What's going on with this Patreon? It's
What's
$1.
going on?
No one will give us $1, Tom.
No
Are
one.
we hated that much?
I guess apparently
16,000 subscribers
16.
plus when
Plus-
this goes live. And if everyone gave us $1,
$1. $1. You
we
could save this
our
starving
kids. We
kid.
could feed these starving kids. We don't.
The slot
starving.
machines.
And feed the machines. But thank you so much. For, like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think of the ATM business. Raz's new car. Do you like McLaren? Do you hate McLaren? Do you think getting rid of the Aventador was a mistake? We'll see what they say. Raz will be in the comments to tell you you're wrong. Do you use YouTube, Raz?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. He'll be in there.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Thank you so much. Love you.
This episode is sponsored by Computer Quest, a trusted provider of business IT services across the United States and internationally. Computer Quest delivers comprehensive technology solutions, including managed IT services, cybersecurity solutions, network infrastructure, cloud services, and proactive system monitoring and maintenance, designed to minimize downtime and protect your company's data. Their team works with businesses of all sizes to improve operational efficiency, strengthen security, and ensure reliable technology performance so that owners can focus on their business and not worry if their systems are running or client data is protected. If your organization is ready for dependable, scalable IT support, visit cqbits.com or contact their team directly at sales@cqbits.com to learn more.